Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Sim Race South Africa. And we're back in ACC, and it's round 4 of the simGT Championship, and we're at Paul Ricard this evening. So thanks for everyone for joining us. And I'm joined by Nick Hodson. Nick, how are we doing this evening? Are you looking forward to this race?
Yeah, good evening, Dan. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to, what are we now, round 4, round 5, round 4, in fact, of the GT Championship at Sim Race SA for the 2021.2 season. Of course, we are in a set of Corsa Competizione tonight for the GT3s, and yeah, as you say, Paul Ricard. Interesting track, to say the least. We may or may not be squiffied by the end with all the blue and red lines everywhere, but it's going to be a dark race. It's going to be a night race, so that's going to throw us some very interesting curveballs, I think, Dan.
Yeah, that'll help keep people focused, though we don't see so many blue and red lines. So we'll go over to Paul Ricard. I'll take us over there now, and we'll get into qualifying. So let me just
Remember that these guys have about half an hour to qualify. This is the last 15 minutes of qualifying, so you'll see some times pop up straight away, but these guys have been working at it for a little while now, and yeah, at the moment we have Bashir Jadwat sitting in third position, our top ranked Bentley at the moment, but Kieran Patterson and Junior McCall currently leading the way. Not too much in it, only 2/10 between the top 4 at the moment. But I do expect Paul Ricard to be a track that does not suit the Bentley, which should give us a pretty good challenge for a championship that has been dominated by the Bentleys, it must be said, so far. So Junior McCall doing very well right now. Kieran Patterson also showing us just what that Ferrari can do. I think with the extra power that the Ferraris and Mercs have, definitely giving the Bentleys some headaches tonight.
Yeah, quite interesting. So we've seen 3 rounds of pure Bentley domination, as you said. So this is a time for anyone that hasn't picked the Bentley to capitalise on it. So to remind ourselves how we've got on in the first 3 rounds, and to bring up the championship standings after 3 rounds. And yeah, we'll see our leader, Christian Deploy, who's actually using this round as a drop round this evening, which is very interesting that he's picked this track, like you say, possibly because he knew it wouldn't be a strong one. He didn't want to put the time in his Bentley. So he's happy with his first start of 3 races and a good solid win last time out at Oldham Park. And use this one as his drop round and then come back for round 5 and 6. Bashir Jadwat's been consistent. He had a mishap at Oldham Park, some of you guys may remember, which kept me and Nick thoroughly confused because it was so uncharacteristic of all the errors he was making on track. We found out afterwards that he completely lost force feedback in his wheel, and somehow managed to even be remotely competitive with no force feedback whatsoever. So it thoroughly explained everything. So we apologise profusely to Bashir Jadwat for doubting his abilities, but it was hardware related. But well done for him for continuing with that race, and he is second in the championship. Could retake the lead tonight with a good outcome. Quade Clarson's in 3rd place, also in the Bentley, and is currently in 4th place in qualifying as well. And Paul Venter 4th. Sean Stridham's had a great season so far, and he's doing well again tonight as well. So he's put some time in ACC. He's 5th in the standings, and he's 5th as well right now at Paul Ricard. So that's the top 15. That will change quite a bit because you've still got a drop round to factor in at the end of the season. But I just thought it's nice, just we're starting to see the cream of the crop rise to the top, if you like. The good performers that we've seen over the last 3 rounds are really showing there in the point standings.
So Mr. Paul Venter, who we have seen do extremely well during the races, he has always done much better in the race than he has in qualifying, but at the moment he's sitting quite far down in qualifying. Where is he? I saw him just now. 23rd, I think, is where he currently is. So way down the pack, way further than we're used to seeing him. In fact, generally, he's kind of knocking on the door of the top 10 in qualifying. So I wonder if that's he just hasn't strung together a good enough lap right now, or what's going on with Mr. Venter. But I'm expecting a little bit more out of him.
Yeah, quite possibly. Obviously, it's 1 minute 55 lap times we're talking, 155, 154. So yeah, well, obviously only a half-hour session. So quite possible that Paul's just not hooked one up yet, but with only 12 minutes to go, you start getting a little bit more nervous, don't you, as that clock ticks down and the pressure of not having a banker lap in there And it is
Big
important to qualify. I mean, you don't want to be making that amount of places, no matter how good you are in race trim compared to qualifying trim. You want to get there or thereabouts if you can.
Oh, exactly, and also I noticed Mr. Chris Heinecker. We're used to seeing him much further up the grid, and I do wonder that the Porsche is probably also with the Bentley not great on the top speed. So I'm thinking that Mr. Chris Heinecker is struggling a little bit more. Although having said that, Mark van Rensburg up in third there.
Yeah, nice to see Mark back as well. We've not seen him for a little
Yeah.
while in a very snazzy looking Porsche 911 straight into the top 5 comfortably in. Well, he's not far off pole. Look at the times.
Yeah,
3/100ths of a
Oh,
second.
and look at that. Kieran Patterson, 6,000ths. Puts in a lap. 6,000ths slower than Junior McCall. I mean, that is guaranteed to make him annoyed. I mean, that is so close.
That's close to make no difference is pole position, isn't it? Except on the leaderboard, it isn't there. So we're going to have our usual and have a quick look at the track layout, because I'm going to be the first to put my hands up and say I'm not fully familiar with Paul Ricard. It's not featured in the sim that I spend the most amount of time in. My understanding of this track is mostly based on watching real-life events, F1, bit of GT3. But this is the layout being used by GT3. Big difference being from the F1 layout that you might be more familiar with is that unbelievably massive back straight, which is monumentally long. I think you could do drag racing on there quite comfortably. In the F1, it has a chicane in the middle of it. Quite a big sort of, it's a bit more than a chicane. It has a big sort of corner complex, just a pimple sticking out of it, if you like, just to slow cars down. But in the GT3s, they can just sit back and put their feet up and fiddle with their dashboard because they got a long time before they get to turn 8.
I see Morgan McCall, has just popped into pole position, not by very much, but he has just squeaked it for the moment. But you are correct. Between turn 7 and turn 8, that is an awfully long straight. That has got to be the longest straight on the calendar. And we don't usually talk about slipstream in ACC. I mean, it does make a bit of a difference, but not too much. Often we see drivers struggling. It seems to never matter which car they are in. But I do know for a fact that being obviously part of Point Blank, that that the chaps are mostly in Bentleys with us, but they were measuring with we've got Indrin Governor in the Ferrari, and he was 10 kilometers an hour quicker down that straight.
That's a bit depressing, isn't it, if you're in a Bentley?
Yeah.
Exactly. You might be a bit of a sitting duck. It's a very long straight if you get an extremely poor corner exit out of 6, because it just compounds the issue. That's got to be the most important part of this track, is getting a clean exit onto that straight, because it's just going to magnify itself by the time you get into the braking zone of turn 8.
Yeah, massively. And I mean, even through coming out of 6 is where you're going to need to get your exit correct, because that little kink 7 is not going to be
It's a nothing corner, yeah.
Basically a nothing corner, yeah. So really, you're looking for all the way from 6, 8 is that.
It's a bit of a weird circuit because it finishes off with an incredibly technical final sector with a lot of late apexes, 9, 10, 12. All where you just got to be slow and patient. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. It's also got some corners where there's no braking markers whatsoever, which makes it a challenge for the drivers, because you're used to having massive, great big boards. There are some that have got brake boards. There are brake boards certainly into turn 1. I think a brake board's turn 8. But there's also quite a few with no brake markers whatsoever and just relentless stripes, which start to hypnotise you. So
and it can easily confuse you.
It's a confusing one, and as we go into a night race as well, a reminder this will be starting at 1 a.m. It's going to be a whole different kettle of fish again, as drivers, those boards that were there, are probably not going to be too visible. So we'll see how they fare. We'll just remind ourselves of what the weather is. Maybe Nick, you can just take us through what we've chosen, seeing as you picked it.
Well, yeah, me and Sass had a look. So we decided, based on the fact that from our testing, certainly, that we really wanted to give the guys a different challenge. We wanted to give them some night racing experience. Of course, GT3 racing is brilliant for the changeable conditions and the fact that you can race at night, unlike our traditional Formula 1s, etc. But we found the most amount of lighting at Paul Ricard, so we decided to to be nice in that respect and give them the most amount of light at night. So that's why we are here at night. But obviously then that kind of dictates the temperature, right? So it's going to be pretty cold the whole time. I don't expect too much change in temperature. So I imagine these guys are just going to be struggling with the tires on a cold side. So potentially you're going to see, I don't know, graining and that kind of thing happening. But I'm not expecting pressures to be too much of an issue with these guys. We've got partly cloudy with a chance of rain, but honestly I am not expecting rain.
No one's mentioned rain, as in it's not been a factor on chat at all during the day. It seems like a lot of the practice people have been doing, it's not been wet, so 35% seems relatively high, but it seems like a very outside chance.
Definitely, with the cloud level sitting at 15%. Certainly, all the simulations that we ran, rain is there's a very small likelihood. It could happen. I mean, this is Europe, this is France. It could absolutely rain, but I'm really not expecting it tonight.
Cool. That's the weather then. Let's go back to track, and we got the last sort of 5 or so minutes, which is only enough time to put a sort of 2 or 3 flyers in, and Bashir Jadrat has gone to the top. That's whilst we were looking at the weather, he's gone to the top, 153.7. I was just about to say we'd go back and look at a whole load of cars that aren't Bentleys leading this timing charts, and then as I go there, a Bentley's in the pole spot. So Morgan McCall has got to find a little bit more time if he wants to sneak that away from Bashir Jadrat.
Yeah, but not much. I mean, that's 7/700ths of a second. It's really, really close. And I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat joining us tonight. We've got Flavio, we've got Ryan, we've got James, Stephen, we've got Zahir, we've got Ron, we've got Ryan, Matt, and Francois. Really welcome, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We're really looking forward to the racing. I think despite Paul Ricard not being our favorite track, I think it might give us quite a few overtaking opportunities with that really long back straight. So I'm really looking forward to it tonight and to seeing a little bit more variety. I mean, I know we have a Bentley on pole, currently provisional pole.
I think he's going to struggle to keep that though, isn't he, in the race? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but Bentley, Merc, Ferrari, Merc, Porsche. Even Sterner once again championing that Aston in 7th. Sean Stradom in 8th for the Aston as well. We've even got a couple of McLarens. Look at that, 10 and 11. We haven't talked about that. Dwayne Hall and Mr. Oosthuizen himself in the McLaren, 10th and 11th. What a phenomenally good job they've done.
I remember Dwayne Hall having a little, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think he struggled a bit at Oldham Park, didn't we? I remember seeing quite a beat-up McLaren.
All the McLarens struggled heavily at Oldham Park. So
you couldn't get a more different track from Oldham Park to Paul Ricard. You've got zero runoff whatsoever, not even sort of curbing down the outside, to what looks like Heathrow Airport with a track painted on it. So I think these guys are certainly going to be safer. However, if you push track limits, this could kill you here. You could be getting penalties. I'm expecting maybe seeing a few more penalties here because you can't just drift wide with no consequences. So it's nice to have a bit of runoff as a safety net. But the problem is sometimes you can lean on it a little bit too much, and over a 90-minute race, if you start pushing those track limits, we could be getting a few cheeky penalties. So watch out for that. The other thing,
especially is there is no barrier, right? So this is always the thing with racing drivers. You push it and push it and push it and keep pushing it, and especially when there's no big barrier in the way that says, if you get this wrong, buddy, you're going to be in the wall and out the race.
Yeah.
If that's not there, you're going to push a little bit harder than you generally would.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Yeah. If it's at Monaco and there's a wall there, you hold back 10%. When there's no consequences whatsoever, you go. But in 90 minutes... can you do that 3 or 4 times and then you're going to get a penalty? See, I mean, in real life, these stripes are actually like razor blades and destroy your tyres as a method of slowing you down. So you're spinning across them. We saw an F1 this year. Actually, when they got onto the red ones, which were incredibly abrasive, actually took tyres down to the canvas when they span across those. So that's its protection, if you like. But I very much doubt that's simulated to that extent in this game. But
yeah, it's not. I mean, it does do a bit, but it's really nowhere near that kind of extent, as you say.
So we'll look out for track limits. The other thing I want to just pay attention to his pit lane as well.
Oh, Kieran Patterson. Sorry, Kieran Patterson is
top.
now gone to the top in pole.
Look how close it is again. I mean, he was disappointed he was 6 100ths down or 6 1000ths down, and now he's only up by 7 100ths from Bashir Jadwat. So that's going to be close with a lap to go.
We're also going to need to talk about our inter-commentator battle, of course, between Sas van der Westhuizen and Mr. Alan Patterson. However, Thus having an absolute flyer right now in 12th position, but I don't even see Alan in the top 23 at the moment. So
26.
Must be struggling in that BM.
And Krista Santos in the other Beamer is also struggling in 30th spot. So this might be one for Sass to brag about. We'll see.
But
that's like an intercontinental championship, that is, isn't it, between those two? We keep bringing it up, but we'll take it to the end of the season.
Yeah, big time. But I would have expected the BMW to be good here because it's so quick in the straight line.
Interesting. Although we've got Kieran Patterson leading in a Ferrari, and Sass is also the next fastest Ferrari.
Yeah, doing very well. Doing very well. So only 7. Well, call that 800ths of a second between Kieran and Mr. Bashir Jadwat. But Sean Strader, well, shout out to Sean. Look at that. 1/10 off in the Aston Martin. He's had a fantastic qualifying so far. When we jumped in for the first time to qualifying, just as it started, Sean was right up there as well. So he's proving himself very consistently.
And Dwayne Hall's got into the top 7. I'm loving this grid, people. Look how versatile it is. Look at the different manufacturers. This is what we've wanted to see. All season it's been a bit of a Bentley Cup, if I'm being quite honest. Especially Alton Park was just ridiculous for the Bentleys. But here, it's so mixed up. Anyone's in with a chance.
Yeah, this is brilliant. This really is. It's so good to see those McLarens up there again. It's so good to see a Porsche or two in the mix.
Bashir Jadwat. Sorry, Nick, to bother you. He's 2/10 up on his Delta right now. And as we know, 1/10's all he needs. So can he finish strongly and snatch pole? But Kieran Patterson's on a hot lap as well and is a 10th up again on his current best.
So it's interesting. I see Zahir telling us the BMW is actually good here. So I'm not quite sure then why Alan and Chris are struggling quite so much.
That's not what they wanted to hear. Bash coming across the line. He's a 10th up. Just dropped to 10th. He's within a 10th. It's going to improve slightly, I believe.
Oh,
not enough. Look at that. He shaved off 3 100ths. He's down to 4 now.
Oh, goodness. That was tight. That was tight.
It was enough. What he thought. I mean, he didn't need to improve by a lot, but just a little bit more. Kieran Patterson is on a hot lap. He's still a 10th quicker than his current best. Could cement his place at the top of the grid here. Everyone else is in the pit, so I think he's already got it down. So this is just showboating from Kieran Patterson at this point.
Unless Lawrence Sterner, I see a 9.
Sterner's down on his Delta. He's still out, but he's down by a couple of tenths.
How's Mr. Oosthuizen doing?
Oosthuizen is level. He's not improving. He's actually slightly down now. Patterson's dropped his advantage. He's now level with his best, so he's really maximising his time. He's showing his consistency as he comes around the last corner. He's up a 10th in this exit. He's going to improve. He's already on pole. What will the gap be now? There you go. He goes over a 10th. What a massive margin. I mean, that's as big as we've seen all night. 1.5 tenths. Kieran Patterson going to take pole. Great showing from Kieran Patterson in the Ferrari. Patterson works. He'll be chuffed with that. I'm sure he will be.
Yeah, that's a fantastic job from Kieran. He's definitely my driver of the qualifying so far. Let's see how he does during the race. Yeah, done very, very well. I do hope he has a fantastic race, and he is my pick. I'm going to put my neck out already and say he's my pick for the win. I know Bashir Jadwat's right behind him, but I think he could have it here tonight, Dan.
So we're lining up in the dark. And it's not raining, so they'll be a little bit more relaxed. Whilst I get my stream sorted out, we're going to take a very quick break, and then we'll be back for the start of this race. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everyone, to Paul Ricard for round 4 of the Sim Race South Africa simGT Championship 2021.2. Sure, that's a mouthful, got it all out of the way, and we're ready for the start of this race in the dark. It's going to be a 1 a.m. start. The whole thing is going to be at night, even though we've got time progression. So these guys are going to get well familiar with this nighttime track. And you've already picked Kieran Patterson, Nick. You put your head on the block already.
Already, yeah. I was actually going to mention it earlier in the qualifying session when Kieran was sitting second, but yeah, I think Kieran's raced that Ferrari for so long now for Patterson Works Sim Racing, and he's really got the measure of it. And this track, I think will be good for the Ferrari. It's great down the straights, so I really think this is an excellent opportunity. Kieran's matured exceptionally as a driver, and I think tonight could be his night.
Nice. Well, I'm not allowed to pick the same because that's just not allowed, is it? So no. I'm going to go with a McCall. Now, that's quite sneaky of me because I got 2 chances. So I'm going to go with a McCall. I don't care which McCall it is. I just feel one of them is due a win at some point. They've showed such promise and always a bit quicker in race trim as well. So a McCall win, either Junior or Morgan. Let's see how it goes. So these guys lining up, they're going to start taking a parade lap in a few seconds' time. Lights are on.
Yeah, they're going to have to remember to all keep in nice formation. Don't let the gap get too big. That's how penalties get handed out by Sette Corsa Competizione. So hopefully they all behave.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Trust me, nobody wants that. So hopefully we can avoid any mishaps at the start. And we're going to stick with Helicam because it gives us the best opportunity to catch as much action going into turn 1. It's a difficult turn 1. Turn 1, turn 2. We saw plenty of action this year in F1. With quite a few guys taking the runoff area right into turn 1, across cutting through turn 2. Remember Alonso doing it and getting into a little bit of trouble. So we'll see whether a few guys get pushed out onto those blue stripes. I have to say, it does look better at night.
The McCalls, it looks like those Mercs are just, pummeling ahead and then they're going all out of position. So I hope that doesn't result in any kind of
They do all sorts of funny games, warming brakes, warming tyres. Yeah. They go through their routines, but they're seasoned pros at this point. So if they get a penalty, they thoroughly deserve it. And I think they know what they're doing. They'll get themselves into position by the end.
Right, so just as we're going around on the formation lap, just a shout out to the guys on YouTube. We've got a bunch of people supporting a variety of teams. So we've got Matthew Boy shouting for Point Blank Sim Racing. We've got Ryan Hill shouting for his Odin teammates. I think he's got both. He's got 2 teammates in the race. In fact, got Lawrence and I can't remember.
He's got Wesley.
Wesley. That's it. Lawrence and Wesley. Got Mike McGear shouting for BWR. We've got Stephen Kenny shouting for Sas van der Westhuizen. We have, who else do we have? Carl Steegs calling Junior McCall for the win. We've got Mr. Zahir Esser himself backing Bashir Jadwat for the win. So let's see how that goes. Stephen Koenig is also shouting for Jan. So we got lots of support for everybody. Logistical Nightmare Racing getting some support. It's fantastic to see everybody getting involved, and we do appreciate you all tuning in for what is going to be an exceptionally exciting race.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think the darkness brings a bit of a different dynamic towards it, and I am liking the look of it already. Yeah, it's nicely lit up. The actual stripes look, they actually look nice right instead of a bit garish. Yeah, they're a bit toned down a bit. I'm enjoying that as we see.
Yeah, you see those
one of the McCalls wants to take the lead of the race.
Yeah. That must be very disconcerting for the guys around them, but I assume they'll get themselves all lined up good and proper by the...
Obviously a massive long parade lap as we've got over 2 minutes, and at this sort of speed, trying to get any sort of temperature kept into or generated in your tyres is going to be almost impossible. But they'll try as hard as they can to do so.
With the McCalls doing what they're doing, they must know that this is not going to give them a penalty. They must have tested this.
Yeah, 100% they have. I've seen them do it in other races.
Okay. It's just very disconcerting for the rest of us. And
yeah, the other drivers have got to try and ignore it, haven't they? Ghosting car through, but yeah.
And just do their own thing.
Until that box that comes up saying you've got to get in your position, you can pretty much do what you like, I believe.
It's quite funny, right? As sim racers, we always clamour for more and more and more realism, but yet we have all these ghosting cars everywhere.
Yeah, this is true. Maybe we should cut the parade lap out and do other things, and just cut for the green light start if we're trying to keep with a bit of realism. But yeah, such a long parade lap, isn't it? I mean, it's like Bathurst. Well, not quite, but almost. Here they come around the final corner.
Oh, here we go. We're going to go green.
So we'll stick with Helicam. We've got Kieran Patterson started from Bashir Jadwat should be in second, shouldn't he? Sean Stridham in third. That'll wait until the time streams catch up. Stupid live time streams that aren't live. Here we go, though. We're going to hit green. Off we go. Kieran Patterson, he got a good start. And already he looks okay as he'll have the inside line, and Bashir Jadwat's going to have to go around the outside. He's putting everything he can into it, though. Oh, brakes very late, Jadwat. Super late. Oh, everyone's off. Jadwat went wide. One of the McCalls went wide as well.
Stradom went off as well. One of the McCalls, as you say, and was up to third as well.
It was Morgan McCall that went off.
Yeah, he was up to third straight away off the start-finish line.
Bashir Jadwat pushed turn one, and he did indeed go off wide. Dropped back into his second spot, so he didn't take the position illegally. Managed to keep into second, but we have got Morgan McCall dropped right back down, and I think Junior was okay.
Seeing a few spinners up and down the field as well. All sorts of chaos has ensued, but I think in general people have got away all right. I'm seeing a full snake train of cars. It looks like only Mr. Wilson in 31st has got a really horrific start. But
I said turn one was a bit of an issue. You think it wouldn't be, being so open, but it always is. It always is. So, and it's been that way again. We've had quite a few drivers that have lost out. It's a 90-minute race. You can't win it on turn one.
Look to Hannes van Veek in 7th. They're going sort of side by side all over the place. I think they have now sorted it out, but there were 3 abreast down the start-finish. Not the start-finish.
Peter Oosthuizen's got his McLaren up into 6th place as well, but he's got Hannes van Veek right behind him for company. McLaren looks awesome.
Winners.
Look how good that McLaren looks in the dark. It looks like it's got neon lights down the side of it.
Ross Bartle and Brett Crocombe. Ross was 10th. Ross qualified 10th, and Brett Crocombe qualified around 12th or 13th. Look where they are on lap 1. That is insane.
They're making up for the lack of pace in qualifying of the Bentley and showing how strong it could be in race pace.
Sas van der Veste is also winning and all of that. He's up to 10th. Just having a look up and down who's kind of been a bit of a... I think those are the major winners here.
Mark Brand-Wensberg had a nightmare. He's down in 12th. He's dropped way back. He started in the top 5. So he was one of the big losers.
Yeah,
and then there's a whole load of action behind as Wesley Ferrand, Sean Bingham and Ruben Kruger are involved together.
Sterner in 23rd. He's been a bit of a loser in all of that. And Sean Stradham as well, shame, in 27th. He was a big loser in all of that.
Just looking at Ruben Kruger come up the inside of Sean Bingham.
Yeah, good move that. And now he's looking to challenge Endron Governor all over the back of Endron. Well, Endron should get a great run out of the corner. Definitely one of the strengths of the Ferrari. And then now we'll see down the straight you can see Endron pulled out a bit of a gap there on the exit. But we're going to see if that Merc engine underneath the Aston is going to give Mr. Ruben Kruger anything down the main back straight. Sorry.
And this is what we're going to be interested in seeing, is whether these Bentleys can just cope with that massive long straight and the deficit they have in top line speed, because they can make it back up in sector 3. But it's so, I mean, we're going back to the front. Bashir Jadwat's got Junior McCall all over him for company. So if McCall can tuck up out of the exit of 6 and get a good run onto that straight, you've got to feel that Bashir Jadwat's going to be a bit of a sitting duck by the time he gets into the braking zone and turn 8.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. And McCall doing really well through the twisty section to get his Mercedes on the back of that Bentley bumper. And it's given Kieran Patterson a little bit of breathing room. The gap was a 10th, and it's now up to 7 tenths. And once again, you can see McCall all over the back of that Bentley. And
these 3, I mean, they really checked out from the front, because Ross Bartels had to fight his way from further back down, as you said. But the gap from the front 3 is 2.4 seconds after 1 lap. So it shows you that everyone between Ross Bartle and Junior McCall had an issue, caught up in that turn 1 scuffle. Morgan McCall being one of those, and has left a big gap already after only 1 lap.
Yeah, so Morgan is trying to recover. He's about half a second behind Hannes van Wyk at the moment, but yeah, he's going to have his work.
Just want to see here as they go onto this straight now. Look at the gap from Bashir Jadwat to Junior McCall, and whether that Mercedes closes it significantly as they get to the the braking zone of turn 8.
Oh, Brett Crocombe has had a problem. He's gone. It shows him as in 5th, but he looks on the track map to be absolutely nowhere. I think he's had a disconnect.
Oh, we got Junior McCall looking up the inside. He's going to make a move here.
Oh, here we go.
He did. He had a good drag on the straight, but it wasn't quite enough. Any closer than that, though, and he's going to have Bashir Jadwat side by side into that braking zone. I think that's the battle that Bash is going to have all night long, is trying to keep cars behind him on that long straight. For once, we're seeing a bit of an effect in Assetto Corsa and the draft actually having an impact.
Yeah,
but a
definitely.
top line deficit of the manufacturer in front is clearly the main cause.
And we do see now that this is just aiding Kieran Patterson. He's gaining, I'd say, probably about 4/10 a lap because of this battle that that Junior and Bash are having going at each other.
Yeah, so he clocked a 1:54.5, Kieran Patterson, as he passed the line, and we've got Bashir Jadwat 1:55.3, so quite a lot quicker is Kieran Patterson in these early stages on heavy fuel. I think he's feeling pretty comfortable in that Ferrari. And Paul Ricard, he's going to be wanting Paul Ricard on the season every year.
Yeah, 100%. But, let's see if he can keep his nerve. Race, we've still got a 1 hour and 23 minutes to go. So, very much early stages right now.
We will jump back through the field to see how others are doing, but I'm just really interested to see once more down this straight whether Junior McCall can drag Bashir Jadwat into that braking zone. Looks like he's a little bit further back this lap as he was the previous lap. How much can he gain over the full length of this straight? I mean, this straight is massive. It really is long.
I'm busy while you're doing that. I'm watching Morgan McCall on Hannes van Wyk also on the straight, just trying to see what that does. Of course, Merc engine on Merc engine. I don't see too much right now.
Yeah, he gained. Junior gained, but he only gained a couple of car lengths, so you've got to be closer. It's not as big a deficit as we thought it might be with the Bentley. Morgan McCall's managed to get himself back up to 6th, so it's quite a recovery because he dropped out of the top 10 from that start.
Go down to 20th. Flip Fun Sale is having a go.
Here we go, drag race between
Alan
BMW.
Patterson. Yeah, there we go. Alan Patterson up to 20th. Great move from Alan. That Bentley that BMW doing a bit better, up to 20th position. We saw Alan really struggling in qualifying. I'm doing all right now.
Yeah, right. It's a completely different game, isn't it, racing, as it is to qualifying. It's hard to be brilliant at both of them, and the racing one's what counts. Junior McCall's on a brilliant lap. He was 6/10 up on that lap. Crossed with the 1:54.6. He's very tight to Bashir Jadwat now. Extremely tight. He's got to keep it there until turn 6, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought we'd see the Mercedes advantage down the straight, but it almost seems like through the twisty section the Merc has over Bash.
On my screen, I mean, I don't know whether it's just me, but has that Merc got like a glowing aerial coming out of its roof? What is all that about?
I'm not sure. I've noticed that aerial in the the day races as well, but it's not so prominent.
It's very obvious now. It looks quite strange. Okay, we've got Junior McCall. He's a little bit closer than the lap before, but I still don't think it's enough. I think he's got to be. Yeah, let's go on board to actually try and see how much he gets. Well, he looks pretty damn tight when you're on board with him.
Yeah, it's kind of when he gets into 6th gear, that's when it really starts to show.
Here he comes. He's going to have a look now. He's going to have a look. Oh, he braked late. Did he make it? He did indeed. Pass done from Junior McCall. What a pass.
Yeah, great move from Junior. Now we'll see what kind of pace he has and whether he can start to to gain on Mr. Kieran Patterson,
That's
who
gotta
of course
be-
has about 2 seconds.
That's
gap
got to be
between them.
frustrating for Bash in that Bentley, isn't it? There's just nothing you can do. And to be fair, though, he got him on the brakes, didn't he? He got him on the brakes,
Yep.
Junior McCall. It was not done down the straight. It wasn't done and dusted. He had to work for it.
Yeah, not even close. It was a good move from Junior. Very good
I was
move.
expecting to jump cameras and actually see him going wide there and outbraking himself, but he did manage to get the anchors on in time and stop. Whilst they've been fighting, though, Kieran Patterson's managed to break out of the 1 second barrier and it's got a 1.5 second lead. No, it's nearly 2 second lead from Junior McCall after only 5 laps. Well, it's actually 4 laps, I think, isn't it?
Oh no, we've got. So, who's that? Thompson and Sterner have just done a pit stop each, and Thompson in particular has now come out right into the pack. So that is an awful position to be in, because now you're going to be getting blue flags all over the place, and you're going to lose an awful lot of time letting these guys through.
And it's worth... Oh, he's gone off the track as well to let guys through
I think
in
he's
the
letting them
007
through.
Aston Martin. It's worth mentioning as well, he didn't mention it in qualifying because he didn't have time, but the pit lane entry and exit here. So the entry's fine. Oh,
We've got Morgan McCall, who's got a drive-through penalty that must be for track limits already. He's in 6th position.
There you go. Thought we'd see it, and I wasn't expecting to see it after
So
only
soon.
10 minutes, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fundamental, but he obviously got one at the start when he got pushed off. And he's had a couple more as well. So you get a drive-through, and that's your race done, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, apologies.
Bit of a shame.
You were talking about pit entry and exit.
Yeah, so pit entry is like the thing you got to watch with pit entry is the speed limit line is right on the entrance. So you come off the straight, and then it's a sharp right-hander into the pit lane, and the barrier, the pit limiter line is right there. So you've got to slow down before you get into the pit lane. So
Jump to 17th. So we've got Sean Stratham on Ruben Kruger, Aston on Aston. Side by side into the last into the straight. Oh, they go.
Bit of touching there.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're going to see so many passes through turn 8. I think it's down that long straight, and by the time you get to turn 8, it's done.
And Alan Patterson's licking his lips and wanting to have a go as well. He's up to 18th now. We saw he was in 20th just a moment ago. So Alan's gaining quite a few positions now. So, these two Astons ahead that are battling, that's certainly helping him gain on both those Astons of Ruben Kruger and Sean Stratham. So, Morgan McCall is now taking his drive-through penalty.
Yeah, so make sure you don't get any speeding in the pit lane penalties as well. I'm waiting for that. And then the pit exit is a little bit like the reverse of Donington Park. So you're coming out right onto the racing line before a braking zone. So that's going to be dangerous as well. So definitely a bit of a treacherous pit lane, just in general. It could cause issues tonight. But you don't want to be visiting it for a drive-through already, Morgan McCall. So hopefully that'll be the last time he goes through for a penalty.
Have a look at 19th position, Dwayne Hall, and the McLaren, number 646, is all over the back of Sean Bingham at the moment. Sorry, over not Sean Bingham, over the back of Prius. Over the back of the Yaneman Prius. I could think we may be seeing him lining himself up for an overtake here. Definitely looking to get a good exit onto that straight, and now we'll see what kind of speed he can carry all the way down to turn 8 and potentially affect a overtaking maneuver, although he does actually look to be a little bit too far back. That
McLaren, I mean, it looks bloody fantastic in the daylight, but it looks even better at night.
Yeah, especially with those purple neon stripes on the top of it. Great move there. Really great move from Dwayne Hall, and off he goes into into 18th position now. Oh, and the two ahead of him, and now he spins.
As you say that, he's onto the stripes. Unfortunate there from Dwayne Hall.
I think Morgan has in fact retired, because he is in the pits, but he's not going anywhere. He's got to drive through, so you would not stop. So I think Morgan has in fact retired from the race.
It's a bit of a rage quit. I can get it's frustrating, but yeah, it's a shame to see drivers stop. We do like to see them try and carry on. Maybe he'll come back out, but probably unlikely now. See whether Junior McCall. I'm down to one McCall, and yeah, my odds have just been stripped 50%. But Junior McCall's doing great. He's in second spot, but he's trying to hunt your guy down, Kieran Patterson. He's looking very confident,
strong.
very strong, very
yeah.
strong.
Yeah,
And Bashir Jadwat's not been broken, has he? McCall, it wasn't. I mean, he made the pass. You sort of felt like potentially he was being held up a bit by Bash, but he's since having clean air in front of him, he has not been able to stretch his legs more than half a second, which is very little. In fact, if anything, it might be helping Bash, just trying to be dragged along down this straight, being tucked up behind an AMG instead of punching that massive boat through the air himself.
I'm just having a look at for any potential overtakes down the
Bartran
back
Vensberg
straight.
is fought his way back up into 8th spot, and we've got guys in front. Is that Thompson, or is moving out the way?
Wesley Ferrand. So Wesley Ferrand in 12th position, looking to effect a pass on
here he goes.
Both Hugo de Witt.
Oh, this is
and
3 abreast
Paul
now.
Venter.
Look.
Yep. That's
turn
incredible.
8. There was always going to be contact there. 3 abreast as they're going into turn 8. Cars off. That was just always going to happen, I think.
But it looks like the Lexus of Wesley Ferrand came out relatively unscathed, I should say, and Mr. Paul Venter is scampering away now as well.
Just unfortunately missed that replay. Got a bit of contact, but yeah, I think there was just too many cars trying to go through one corner at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Bashir Jadwat is a little bit closer to Junior McCall now, gap to 4/10 and looks even closer on track, it must be said.
I mean, everybody is making their pass into turn 8, and the disadvantage Jadwat's got is that's the slowest part for his car, isn't it? So that easy passing opportunity is probably not going to be so easy for him.
No, but I mean, we saw when Junior was really hounding Bash that his advantage was actually through the twisty section was Junior's. So it's strange now that I'm seeing Bash really put pressure on Junior through the twisties himself. So I'm just wondering if Bash's tires have come to him a little bit.
Yeah, possibly. It's so hard to pass in that twisty section, isn't there? I'm not sure how you're going to get it done. You're not going to be able to send a GT3 car around the outside in dry conditions with optimum grip. I think the safe
see
point's
Bash
8.
just hitting the limiter there as he goes down that 280 k's an hour, and that's all that Bentley has to offer. Interesting, Zahir reckons that Bash actually let Junior go when he made that move. He didn't fight it too hard. So yeah,
they were side by side as they hit the braking point, and Bash definitely braked early.
Yeah,
we'll have to find out from him. I'm not convinced he let him go.
Well, by let him go, I think it didn't fight it too hard.
Yeah, at which point do you not fight once you've got a car on the inside that's clearly probably quicker than you? I'd be inclined to I'd be inclined to do the same.
I'm actually watching on board with Bash at the moment, and he gets so close through the corners. He really can carry the speed. I do get the feeling that his tires have really come to him at this stage of the race. But Mr. Kieran Patterson is, at the moment, class of his own, 3.2 seconds ahead. I mean, I know that's not the world's biggest gap, but certainly for the lead of a GT3 race, that's pretty good right now.
It's not bad after only 18 minutes as well. We've still got an hour and 12 to go. It's the perfect start for Kieran Patterson. This is going to be his best ever opportunity. I think he's not won a Division 1 race at Sim Race South Africa before, so I don't want to jinx him, but he's had a perfect start.
Yeah, he's doing exceptionally well, and I'm obviously, as you know, definitely rooting for him tonight. He's definitely my pick. Ross Bartle being very, very quiet, sitting there in 4th, kind of 4 seconds behind Jadwat and 4 seconds ahead of Hannes van Wyk, who's also doing very, very well. Quickest Aston at the moment. You see Bash all over the back of Junior now, but he gets 280 and he can't do anything more, and that's just it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely looking to make a pass. He's definitely looking to make a pass. He's not comfortable just sitting behind, is he?
No, absolutely not.
Putting as much pressure as he can. It's maybe Junior prefers to be the hunter rather than being hunted, where he's got Bashir Jadwat behind him. In a neon, I mean, it looks like he's got clown lips on that Bentley with the big red grille glowing in the dark as you look in your rearview mirror. You might have Junior McCall with a red sort of pole sticking out of his roof. But Bash has got lipstick on.
I'm seeing Mark van Rensburg also pressuring Janssen van Vieren an awful lot. I'll keep an eye on that one while you're ahead watching Bash attack Junior. See if there's anything going to happen there. They're going to come over the start-finish line just now, so I'll watch for a good lineup pass through.
Bash is now having a look in turn 1. He's looking for other opportunities to make this pass done, knowing that it's difficult in the traditional turn 8 spot for that Bentley.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
surprised.
basically looking everywhere now. He's swarming the back of that AMG. Just dropped back a touch from the turn 2 complex.
Ooh, no!
That's a bit of contact there. I think he missed his braking point. He's going to rejoin the track behind. I think that was definitely a contact between the two cars, but he's rejoined safely and they'll recommence. All this is doing in the meantime is just helping Kieran Patterson. That gap's going to be way over 5 seconds when they hit the next timing gate.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I mean, I was literally on board with Bash at the time, and I thought he's taken Junior out completely. It looked like it had gone horribly
They
wrong.
managed to both use the runoff area effectively and regain without much drama.
Junior doing?
Junior's
What's
pulled
going on?
over.
What's going on there?
He's disconnected, has he? Junior's disconnected, I believe. Yeah, that's a disconnect. He's off the server. Once you just go straight on, he's had either a hardware failure.
He's there. He's had a hardware failure because he's in the car. The car's still going. You can see he's
got no steering. He's got no steering. He's hitting the walls. We've lost Junior McCall. Well, that's it. The stream's over, guys. My 2 picks are down, and I cannot cope with Nick going on for 1 hour and 9 minutes about how his is still leading. So 2 McCalls down after 20 minutes. I will not be buying a lottery ticket this week.
Whereas I will be buying all my savings into a lottery ticket. I guess.
At least a couple of cheeky scratch cards at the garage next time.
Oh, yeah, Mark van Rensburg in 8th position, all over the back of Janssen van Vieren, all over the back, really trying to make a move through the twisties. Here we go, last corner of the track, over the start-finish line we go, and he is so close. Great exit as well. Looks to take the position as they go across the start-finish line, even side by side into turn 1. How's it going to play out?
Oh, he's got it easy. He's got it easy.
Yeah,
Mark
no
van
worries.
Rensburg is he was a man out of position from turn 1 in the mishap, and he's just recovering his way back through the field. Got a bit more time to gain now. Get his head down now. He's got 3.5 seconds to get to Van Vuren in 6th place. So, I think, yes, we've definitely had hardware failure from McCall, and Jadwat's going to be quite relieved with that because he felt that that was a battle that was going to go on for quite a number of laps. Basically, the entire start of this race. It's sort of done us a little bit because I was enjoying that immensely.
Yeah,
and,
that was incredible.
Now we've got a bit of a train or a bit of a gap at the front. I mean, Jadwat can try and get his head down and try and claw back some of that 6 seconds mighty lead, though, Patterson's got. And Bartle back in 3 seconds behind.
Speaking of Patterson's, jump to 13th, where Alan Patterson is under pressure from Hugo de Wit, but is applying his own pressure to one Mr. Endron Governor. So we've got, Ferrari on BMW on Lexus, and even the Aston Martin of Ruben Kruger behind is looking to start to put a little bit of pressure there. So great three-way battle here for what is for 12th position.
But Alan Patterson, he really risen through the ranks in that BMW from qualifying. We're just commenting how hopeless he was in qualifying, and in the race completely reversed that as he's now putting pressure to get 12th. He made a bit of a mistake there, and he's got pressure from behind as well.
Oh, but somebody's
going to go around the outside.
Like
Hugo de Wit trying to go around the outside. He's not going to get it done there.
But Alan's got Endron Governor, no problems.
Hugo can flash his lights as much as he likes. He was never going to get the pass done round the outside there. I don't think Alan did anything wrong. It does amuse me when guys jump to their lights as if that's like, what are you doing? You should have just handed it to me.
But Alan is now up into 12th position, doing fantastically well, looking to try and mitigate the damage that his arch nemesis, Sans van der Westhuizen, who's in 8th position and doing phenomenally well.
Yeah, but they're getting a lot closer, isn't it? The great rivalry, it's only 4 places between them, between Sas van der Westhuizen and Alan Patterson.
Yeah, but Alan's got 10 seconds now to make up on Sean Stradom. Oh, Endron getting a little bit squirrely on the exit there. And that is going to allow Hugo de Wit to come into play. Although I must say, we've got Hugo, Ruben, Sean, and Wesley all on top of each other as well. So there's a huge battle going on here.
Is Edrin Govender part of your sister team in Point Blank Racing's? I mean, you're getting a bit of a reputation for being a Patterson Works of the 2021.2 season, because I do like the livery, but it is quite a long way through the field at this point.
At least we have a bit of variety. We've got one on the Aston, we've got one on the Ferrari, and two Bentleys. So.
Right. Okay. But if I gave stick to the Patterson Works boys last season, it's only right that I give a little bit of stick this season to the use of that livery throughout the field. But okay, I'll take your point.
That's all right, Dan. You give the Point Blank guys some airplay, and I'm not gonna complain.
Okay,
but this is definitely the closest battle on track at the moment for.
Yeah, Hugo de Wit and Ruben Kruger also. And that whole little train there back to Wesley Ferrant in 17th place, who is recovering really back. I mean, Ferrant is having a real good look at Sean Bingham in another one of exactly the same livery cars.
But it does look amazing on that Aston, you've got to admit. And for Odin Racing, Wesley Ferrant, of course, got a fair amount of experience under his belt. And really looking to make something count. That was close. Hey?
So close with Wesley Ferrant. I mean, there's millimetres there. He's being towed right now by Sean Bingham. Is the Stormtrooper Wesley Ferrant Lexus. I mean,
across the finish line they go for another round of a ding-dong lap, and here we go.
Some people love Lexus and that sort of look, but I mean, that's a bit too much for me, for the wheel arches and the bodywork. It looks a bit gaudy, but not such a classic sports car, is it? But he's trying to fight his way through the field. He's dropped back from Sean Bingham now as Wesley Ferrant, and problem is you drop back in GT3. Oh, we got another drive-through in Kruger. Kruger in 15th spot is the next driver. So we mentioned it at the start, and immediately he goes off track.
His wife again, yeah.
So it's put him off. It's affected him already, but we've still got an hour to go, and we've had 2 drive-through penalties already. I'm thinking we're gonna see more of this.
Ooh, here we go, Wesley Ferrant all over the back of Ruben Kruger now, who's got the drive-through penalty, pulls out. He's going to go around the outside, looks to pick up the slipstream then of Sean Bingham, who's in front of him as well. So I think he will have that move done.
Hannes van Veek, 4th place, having an awesome race, another drive-through penalty.
Oh,
track limits, guys, track limits. He's going to be gutted.
Such a killer.
That's the worst. I mean, that's such a massive penalty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big one. And Hannes is immediately into the pits. He stopped, though.
Is it? It's not a stop-go. It's just a drive-through. No. So I'm not quite sure. Did he think it was a stop-go?
I mean, I guess if you're taking an early pit stop, then it's fine. But he's going to have to come in immediately again. So goodness, if that's the case, that's really bad timing.
If you stop in your box, it won't clear the drive-through, will it? We might need a bit of. If anyone in chat knows that, if you stop in your box, it's not going to clear the drive-through. So we're just waiting.
We're about to see.
We're about to see,
and I really doubt that it will. And let's see if that counts towards his.
It has. It's cleared it. It has cleared it. So maybe stopping in your box but not doing anything also clears your drive-through.
Okay, all right. I stand corrected. Apologies,
we learn something every day as Kruger is also serving his drive-through penalty at the moment. Mark van Rensburg, having a great recovery drive through the field from his mishaps on lap 1, is up into 5th spot and is only, he's 9 seconds back, isn't he, from Oosthuizen in 4th, who's doing unbelievably well in that McLaren. I mean...
We've got an amazing battle at the moment for P8. Paul Venter, Quade Claessens and Sean Stradom all over the back of each other.
And we saw Paul Venter really poorly qualifying at the start, but he clearly didn't start from 23rd or what we saw. I didn't see where he finished his qualifying session.
Sean Stradom looking to make a move around the outside of turn 8 on Quade Claessens.
Sorry, I hate these cameras. I just jumped to another camera and we just about get it as he comes up the inside.
Yeah, goes.
There's a track limit behind, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, definitely. But now he's tried to go around the outside, has Sean Stradom, and Quade Claessens stuck to his guns, kept the inside, and it's actually given him the position back. So that was done phenomenally well by Mr. Quaid Claessens, who's now looking to once again challenge. Looks to be Sean Stradom ahead of him.
That white Aston Martin that went
Fenter,
wide is a back marker, I assume, because it's definitely not Quaid Claessens or Alan Patterson, is it? So, yeah.
It's somebody in 26th position. It's Lawrence Sterner.
Okay. So, movement throughout the field here. Alan Patterson got himself up into 11th spot. Sas van der Vesthuizen, though, is also doing well in 7th. With these drive-through penalties, people are gaining positions through other people's corner cutting.
Yeah.
So there you go. A lesson for Division 2, Division 3 on Wednesday night is just keep it off the blue stripes, people. And yeah, that will save you a lot of heartache.
Yeah, so Philip Minnar also thought what I thought. He said doesn't clear the drive-through, doesn't clear after a proper pit. So I think if you take on fuel and everything,
yeah. So he stopped at his
won't.
box unnecessarily, so wasn't it?
Yeah.
If we got Bash, I just went on board, went super wide as well off the circuit. I'm just worried about a few more drive-throughs coming through as we've still got an hour to go and we've had 4 already.
Yeah, Quaid Claessens looking to attack Paul Fenter once again. Remember, Fenter really high up in the championship at the moment. I think he's 3rd in the championship. Currently sitting P8 on track. Claessen's really looking to put the pressure on. But he's kind of topping out at that 280 k's an hour that we see the Bentley maxing out at. Oh, he tries to go around the outside, runs wide out of 8. I wonder if that will have been a track cut.
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but Mr. Fenter keeps his position. Oh, and Sean
Pushed off
Stradom
again as Sean Stradom just barges his way through in the Aston Martin.
for Logistical Nightmare Racing had a proper go there and has got through, rubbing very much racing on that one. And there's a back marker now behind, getting in the way, I think, of was it Quaid? So it's all kicking off at the moment. Quaid having a bit of a disaster of a lap, unfortunately. But now needs to regroup and once again go at Sean Stradom, now looking to attack. Mr. Fenter said, Quaid, you've had your chance, now it's my turn, my friend.
Fenter's driving incredibly defensively at times, isn't he? He took very tight line into 8, which was what allowed Claessens to go. It looked like he was going around the outside, but it wasn't. It's just taking the natural racing line through that corner. And yeah, the little contact there that got Stradom close enough to barge his way through as well, losing 2 spots.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we saw Sean Stradom right towards the sharp end of qualifying. So he was, if I remember correctly, he was collected with one of them, called Morgan, I think, in the first lap incident. And I think
you're right.
Bit of a comeback drive.
There's been a few guys yo-yoing through the field here, haven't we? We got Stradom, we did have McCall's, and then we've got Mark van Rensburg. Mark van Rensburg's the one that's recovered the best and managed to fight his way through without much drama. Stradom's making a little bit more hard work for it, but he's got to try and get past Paul Fenter here down the straight.
And
he's got loads more speed. Look how much more pace he has here over the Bentley.
Yeah. Big time, hey?
Oh, he had the pass done before he even got to the corner.
Easy game.
Yeah.
Although now we've got Quaid Claessens all over the back, looking to make an opportunistic move, as we saw Sean Stradom do the previous lap, going up the inside, side by side. Here we go.
He's got it.
Oh,
he's going to lose another plot here. Is that to a back marker?
It's a back marker. That's a back marker.
Shouldn't be getting involved with this. Oh, still side by side. Bit of contact, and Paul Venter's going to spin round here.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
He managed to hold it. He managed to hold it, but yeah, he lost the back end. I think where he went wrong, Paul Venter, going down the back straight, he was just defending like super on the inside, and it just compromises your corner 8 so much that it was just easy, wasn't it, in the end for Stradom just to drive around the outside of him. I think you're better off sticking to the driving line and just thinking, all right, if the guy passes me in the draft, it's going to happen. I can't do anything about it, but there's no point defending it, I don't think.
Right, I've switched over now to Hugo de Wit in 14th, who is all over the back of Endron Governor, and they've got Sean Bingham and Wesley Ferrand. Once again, these guys cannot leave each other alone. Mr. Endron Governor really defending for all he's worth into turn 1, now turn 2. And again, that's where the Ferrari seems to do quite well, is on the exit of these corners. Gives himself a little bit of breathing room. But But then the Lexus is closing up once again, and Sean Bingham behind, really defending hard from another Lexus of Wesley Ferrand. So with 2 Lexi pressuring for positions here.
Quick shout out to Christian Deploy has joined us in the YouTube chat, who is our current championship leader in the Bentley, and very upsetting to not see you on track, Christian. We thought that you had actually selected it for your drop round, but it's actually due to ESCOM and load shedding. Unfortunately, he's found foul of the ESCOM schedule, but to be fair to you, it may be a blessing in disguise in the Bentley, because we're seeing the Bentley struggle here. So if you're going to be forced to take a drop round, Paul Ricard might be the one to look at the drive-throughs popping up now. We've got Ronald Childs got a drive-through, Lawrence Sterner got a drive-through. I did think we may see 1 or 2. I didn't think we'd see half a dozen already with 55 minutes left to go.
Yeah, it's still absolute plenty to go. While we're watching this battle, a shout out to Mr. Oosthuizen in 4th position in the McLaren, number 309.
Yeah, brilliant
He's
drive.
10 seconds behind Ross Bartle, but a fantastic drive. Best drive we've seen in a McLaren so far. Really doing exceptionally well.
And I've heard that the McLaren has the potential to be one of the quickest cars on the grid. It's just trying to tame it, and it's not an easy one to find that pace, but the pace is inherently in there. But clearly, Paul Ricard, we've seen a couple of McLarens do well.
Sean Bingham got a bit of a wobble coming out of the last corner, and has allowed Wesley Ferrand to make a move on him, and he's got it done easily before turn 1. Sean having a little look back up the inside, but deciding better of it. We'll see what happens when they get through turn 7, whether or not he can make a move on that Lexus. But Wesley Ferrand upper position into 15th, and now looking to challenge Hugo de Wit, who's looking at the back of Endron Governor, still for lap after lap, it feels like.
Yeah, they're going to be in a close-fought battle until one of them gets a drive-through, I think, for pushing so much.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is you don't feel like you can just drive within your limits. No, you're relentlessly pushing because you've got someone in front and behind you. And just got to try and keep it under control. Adrian Governor really is pretty tight behind Alan Patterson in the BMW, who's having a great race to fight his way through the field.
Right, Ronald Childs has cleared his drive through. Had a watch of him. It was very well behaved, so no stop and go as well. So well avoided. So easy to do. We've seen it time and time again.
We're going to start getting into the region of possibilities of people coming in for pit stops shortly. 53 minutes to go. Another sort of next 10 minutes, we should start seeing people clearing their mandatory pit stop. You do have to make a pit stop. It doesn't have to be a tyre change, though. And I would expect in these cold conditions, there'll be quite a lot of guys that would just be doing a splash and dash for the finish.
Yeah, you do have to put 1 litre of fuel in. That's the only requirement. So it's just basically to make sure
Can someone just pass you the litre of fuel in a sort of Evian bottle through the window? Or does it have to go in the tank?
That's left to interpretation of the drivers. I must say that Endron Governor's car is looking very second-hand, especially that front bumper looks almost like it's hanging off on the one side. There's so much damage. I'm not sure that team principal Matthew Boy.
Will he be upset that the damage to the livery, Matthew Boy? I mean,
I think he will with his brand spanking new company, Hertz and Watt.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to be happy with Endron putting so much damage on the car.
In the debriefing at the end of the race, Adrian Governor might be getting a bit of a slap on the wrist by his team principal.
Yeah, but
damaging company property.
Oh, exactly. Makes a couple more positions up during the race, and I'm sure all will be forgiven. So let's see if he can actually challenge Alan.
I'm just keeping an eye.
So much speed.
Keeping an eye on Mark van Rensburg, and he had like 9 seconds to get back, and he's got it because he's a 1.9 now behind Oosthuizen in the McLaren. So he's got his head down since he's had clear air, and he's definitely a quick guy out of position. Is Mark van Rensburg in the Porsche 911. So it will be probably a couple more laps. I'm just looking on their last laps through. He's lapping similar sort of pace though. So we'll just see whether Oosthuizen possibly made a mistake. Yeah, Oosthuizen's crossed the line with a very slow lap of a 2:05. Lost 10 seconds. So that's where it is. It's not necessarily Mark van Rensburg's pace.
Bartle is in the pits,
is
and this is not for a
indeed in the
drive-through.
pits. It's the first guy, well, it's not, we had Thompson come in, but it's the first one of our leaders to come into the pits that hasn't been a drive-through.
Yeah, so that's interesting. He's probably going to stay there for a fair amount of time, given the fact that we still got 50 minutes to go, so I imagine there's going to be a reasonable amount of fuel going on board. I can't see a reason to have carried fuel this whole time. Track still obviously optimum. We've got 0 rain on the horizon. Track sitting at 11 degrees, ambient 11 degrees, so I'm not seeing too much change there either. And off he goes. Who's that ahead of him in the pits? Somebody's ahead. There's taken a pit stop. I'm not sure who. But anyway, Ross is back out in... Oof, I'm trying to work that out. Probably going to be a net 18th, I would think.
Really, that low? I don't think so. He's down... Oh, no, you might be right. You might be right. He's still plummeting 16th. Looks like he might have settled... No, 17th. Hey, you're bang on. You're bang on. I should never doubt you. I don't know why I'm here. I really don't.
Okay, so Mark van Rensburg can see Mr. Oosthuizen in his lights now. So that's going to be some extra motivation. And we could see a challenge on just now. You never know.
I mean, he's recovered his lap times, his Oosthuizen, so he lost 10 seconds, which can only be explained with a spin, I imagine.
Ooh,
but
sorry, Hugo de Wit, 13th, all over the back of Adrian Governor, trying to put a little bit more paint on the back of that Ferrari. That was so close. Sorry, as they were going through turn 8. There is barely a piece of A4 paper between those two.
Yeah, and we've got Wesley Ferrand trying to take pickings from behind.
Yeah. No Lexus love between those two, clearly.
No, and I mean, he got a blank one in Wesley Ferrand.
Ooh,
just blasted up the inside. What? That was almost like a...
I feel like Adrian maybe ran a little bit wide there. That was crazy. Oh, he's run wide then immediately. Wesley Ferrand tries to take an opportunity on Adrian Governor. It doesn't work out. Is Adrian in the pits?
Governor's gone into the pit, so I think he was trying to get out the way to get a clean pit stop entrance. Maybe he's needed it for fuel, possibly, because it seemed like I must pit now. It wasn't like I can go on another lap.
Has brought Sean Bingham into play again as well now. So Sean's looking to try and make a couple of opportunistic moves as well.
So, Governor pitting. When are we going to start seeing the leaders pitting? We're thinking, well, it's usually 50-50 strategy. It's always been a staple for Sim Race South Africa GT3 racing. So in 3 minutes' time, we should start seeing everybody piling into the pits.
Yeah, I can't imagine we're going to see too much in the way of bizarre strategies. I'm really surprised we saw Ross in so early. He's going to need guys to pit early now, I'd imagine. I'm just going to have a look where he is on track and who he's got around him. Not too much clear air for Ross. There is... he's got a back marker, I should say, not a blue marker, in front of him. So he'll get out reasonably quickly, and then there's probably about 6 seconds between him and 16th. Actually, maybe not too bad a strategy from Ross. Let's see if the undercut works. Remember, we have seen Ross make the undercut work exceptionally well before.
Quickest guy on track right now is actually Bashir Jadra, 154.8. It was his last split, and that's about 0.6 of a second quicker than Patterson, but Patterson's got such a comfortable lead. I don't think he's going to be pushing track limits whatsoever, is he? It'd be a fool to do so. But yeah, just to mention, Bashir Jadra has got pace at this stage of the race. Halfway through, but he's got a lot to gain back if he wants to challenge Patterson for the win.
See Brett Crocumps in the chat. Commiserations, Brett. I know you disconnected. Was it a PC malfunction? Was it an internet disconnect or an ESCOM power fade? He's got solar. He shouldn't have a power fade anymore.
It's not the first time we've had Brett disconnect, though, is it? Or am I talking out of?
We've had Ross disconnect.
Ross had a couple of internet issues. Yeah. That seems to be a team thing. Maybe you could just sort that out between yourselves.
Yeah, no problem. We'll
be done for next sort it out. Come on. Matthew Boyd, come on, get these guys signed up to some decent connection, please. Yeah, that's gutting. No one wants to see that at all. Disconnects in their race is the worst
Especially
thing.
Doing
Absolute
so well.
worst. Yeah, worst thing ever.
Yeah, I know, because remember they had a bit of a disastrous qualifying, but then, by the end of lap 1, they were up to sort of 4th and 5th respectively. It was amazing.
Gutting when that happens. But it's,
Right,
it's
so
a little bit like hardware
is...
failure as a real race driver, isn't it, really? An engine blowout or something, just something completely out of your control.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark van Rensburg's taking his pit stop as well, so is Wesley Ferrand. Although Ferrand in the pit... Yeah, it's Mark.
He's still in the pits, is Ferrand, yeah.
Yeah, he's coming out, so there we go. Ferrand's done his pit stop, so Bartel maintains his advantage over van Rensburg. We really want to see if he is able to gain with the undercut on Bashir Jadwat. That's going to be the interesting thing. I seem to remember the gap between them was around 5 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that between them.
I mean, we've seen time and time again that the undercut is a powerful tool in ACC in gaining places, but you have to be within a second or two of the car in front to actually have it as a strategy call. But it's always been there as a very strong thing, if you're taking tyres, that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're halfway mark now. And, Brett actually says, yes, this is the second time
Waldo's our next... Sorry, didn't want to interrupt you there. Waldo Swiggers has got a drive-through. He's the next casualty of the track limits at Paul Ricard. It's just taken a lot of prisoners tonight.
We had
everyone's
Linda
pitting now.
sitting.
Everyone's pitting. Sas van der Verstegen in the pitting. Alan Patterson in the pits. Hugo de Wit in the pits. Flip Van Zel is also in the pits.
Okay, so let's see what our leaders do. Kieran Patterson coming to about the third last corner. And then, of course, Bashir Jadwat about 7 seconds behind.
We've seen all season long Kieran Patterson fuel as much as he can and pit very late. I seem to remember him in the last race out was one of the last pitters as well. So whether he wants to save time on refueling, which it will do by taking as much as you possibly can.
See what he does.
No, he comes in.
He's pitting.
He's coming in. He's coming in. Our leader is pitting with 44 minutes left. And Bash is also.
So the pit lane is super busy right now.
Very busy. And this is where pit exit can be very treacherous as they come out onto the racing line into the braking turn of turn 1. Super dodgy. It is properly sketch is the exit here, as we see Peter Oosthuizen also coming into the pits from third spot. So our podium are all pitting at exactly the same lap. So Janssen van Vuren is going to take the lead of this race. Let the stats show that he's going to lead one lap.
Well, at least one lap.
At least one lap.
Might be doing a long stint. You never know. And unless these guys are, going to make rookie errors and have a stop-go like Waldo Swiggers now has a stop-go 32nd for speeding in the pit lane, I don't imagine there's going to be too much gained or lost through this pit section. Although, has Bash started to move yet? Bash hasn't started to move.
Here he goes. He's leaving now.
No, he is. He is now.
Okay, so Bashir Jadwat's got 42 minutes to try and gain back about 6-7 seconds. YouTube chat, can he do it? What do you think? We got a stop-go 30 now for Waldo Swiggers. So not only is he at a drive-through, he's speeding in the pit lane as well. So that is properly gutting.
Yeah, so he's got to make up 7 seconds, but also he's got to make the pass stick as well in a Bentley, which is not typically the quickest down the straight. So we'll have to see how he goes. Yeah,
it's one thing to gain the pace or gain the time back. It's a completely another one to make the pass. But I mean, you've got to get the first task out the way, and we're talking about 6 seconds, 5.7 seconds from Kieran Patterson. It's already come down.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was 7.5 seconds when Kieran came into the pit, so possibly Bash a little bit more aggressive. We've got 2 stop-go 30s, Hans van Veek as well.
Yeah, speed in the pit lane. I knew it'd happen. You may have called the winner for this race, but I called the penalties. I just want to put that out there. I said we'd get a lot of corner-cutting penalties, and I thought we'd get some speeding in the pit lanes, and the speeding in the pit lane one is just a killer. Stop-go 30 is just race over.
Yeah, so we've got 3 stop-go 30s on the go right now. Hannes van Veek, Waldo Swiggers, and Warren Linder. It's
because you enter the pit entrance and it's too late to slam on your brakes before you get to that pit limiter line. You've got to actually start slowing it down before you get there. Because it's just Just one of those things. You've got to practice your pit stops here at Paul Ricard. So look how busy the pit lane is as the rest of our leaders, the next podium spots all come in to complete. So we're going to have nearly the whole field have pitted with 40 minutes to go, as Van Vuren, Stridham and Claessen's all in the pit lane right now. Kieran Paston will regain the lead of this race with a 5.5 second lead. Got to be a little bit something to be said that, do you think the nerves will get to Patterson? I mean, when Bash he's familiar with this. He'll be more comfortable hunting someone down and not worried about as the win becomes closer to you. Is it gonna play a factor in the conclusion to this race, do you think?
Look, it's certainly going to play on his mind, but, you know, Kieran is fairly experienced himself. I guess he's not had too many wins, not in comparison to somebody like a Bashir Jadwat. Let's put it that way. But maybe those nerves, that adrenaline, is going to focus the mind for an hour and a half. And it could, you know, he can easily turn that to his advantage. You know, don't lose concentration. It's so easy to do. Starting to pull out a slight gap to Bash. It was 5.5. It's now 5.7. So Kieran's starting to find his pace.
Hannes van Beek serving his stop-go 30. Another one in the pit lane. I mean, is he serving it or is he actually taken his pit stop and then received it? I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure either. Ross Bartelt has seemed to have lost out with the undercut. He's now 10.5 seconds behind Bash, and I think
Mark van Rensburg, though, got the pass made with his undercut, look, because he's up into 4th and passed Oosthuizen through that pit strategy, so he has gained from it. And
yeah,
now he's
got
got
a fantastic drive from Oosthuizen at the moment.
Van Rensburg's got a massive gap to try and hunt down now. 15 seconds to Bartel. Bartel's had the most boringest race ever, hasn't he? He had a very opportunistic start and was probably super chuffed with lap 1, and then he's just sat there just merrily going around in his Bentley doing the best he can. I mean, he's still going to be pretty chuffed with 3rd spot, and hopefully he can bring it home, but he's got no one in front and no one behind.
So who are we looking at? I'm looking at Alan Patterson at the moment. Is reasonably close behind Wesley Ferrand, starting to close him down for that 10th position. Of course, that BMW so fast down the straights, getting a little bit squirrely over those curbs. But I think, Wesley has gone a little bit wide, and Alan is looking to throw a move up the inside. Doesn't quite work out. Goes wide, does Alan. Watch out for those drive-throughs. And all over the back of Wesley, getting very excited is Mr. Alan Patterson. But Wesley does live to fight again another day through the twisty section, coming up to the second last corner on the track. Looking to maybe have a dive up the inside of the last corner. No, not close enough, I should say, but now very close. Look how close he is there to Wesley Ferrand. And once again, riding all over those curves, and it does allow Wesley to get a little bit ahead and get a little bit of comfort going into turn 1. Alan's not going to be throwing it up the inside here, but he is going to look to try and close the gap down through these twisties as he's got... Who's that? Is that Hugo de Witt all over the back of him? It
is indeed, yeah. Hugo de Witt is ready to pounce if Alan makes a mistake. I'm just thinking back to watching a few of these guys run wide. I mean, if you get a drive-through penalty, you do deserve it, because you do have an opportunity to slow down and not gain an advantage and wipe that off. So the warnings collect as you've gone off track and gained an advantage. And
yeah, but you can get so excited when you're chasing.
You
someone,
just don't want to lift. You just don't want to. You just think, no, I'm stuck in.
I can make this. Yeah.
If you know you've got a couple of bankers though, then fair enough. But if you're down to your final warning, then surely common sense prevails. But clearly not.
No. It's difficult. It's difficult, right? You want the position. You want the position every time. And also, I'm noticing at the moment that Wesley Ferrand is getting such a good drive through out of turn 6 through turn 7. Oh, here we go.
Hugo de Witt.
Hugo de Witt
around the outside of 8, but he's a bit too far back.
A bit too far back. That BM is so powerful down the straights without drive through there.
Paul Venter. Yeah, there's another one. We're just going to keep seeing it. But I mean, it's difficult when the track is effectively painted onto a runway and the temptation to go wide everywhere is there.
Yeah, especially as, Alan goes very deep into that corner, but it does actually seem to help him a little bit. Closes up slightly.
Paul Venter was right up there, and what was he doing in 19th before he got a drive-through anyway? He's had a bit of a disaster as Paul Venter, dropped way back down the field, and now when he finishes his drive-through, he's going to be even further back.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be looking to take this as a drop round, I would say, considering he's so high up in the championship. But off we go across the line. I'm still watching Mr. Alan Patterson just to see how he does.
Puts a little bit of pressure when you take a drop round midway through the season.
Yeah, big time.
When you've got 2 races left, you have to perform for the rest, doesn't it? It's nice to go into the last couple of races with that drop round still in hand if you can.
Yeah, but I tell you what, the top drivers, those guys, I don't think that sort of pressure affects them too much right now. Alan really needs to get a good drive out of 6 and through 7 to be in with a good chance of taking on Wesley Ferrant down the straight. Seems to have done a lot better this time than last time. I'm not sure it's enough, but it's certainly closer than he was before, so let's see. And he's actually got a decent gap now to Hugo de Wit as well, so
we'll see whether BMW power down the back straight is enough to hunt down this Lexus. I think he's way too far back.
Yeah, you need to be at least 3/10, if not 2/10 coming through turn 7, I would say, to have a good opportunity.
Just looking at other gaps, we got Sas van der Westhuizen is within half a second of Sean Strider in front for 7th, also trying to look forward. Oh, he has he?
He'd thrown it up the inside, didn't quite work out. Wesley had run a little bit wide, sorry about that. That was a slight false alarm, but Alan definitely having a look.
I had a look at other gaps because I thought there's just no chance in hell that he's going to be able to make a move, so I was surprising when you suddenly shouted that he's had a move, but every time he does, he brings Hugo de Wit further back. I just feel like Patterson needs to just be a little bit more patient and just go for a clear-cut opportunity.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult though. That Lexus is pretty quick, it turns out, down the straight, and it looks like I don't know. I don't drive the BM, so it's difficult for me to say.
I don't think anyone drives the BM, to be fair.
It just looks like he's riding those curbs a little bit too hard, and it bounces the car around. He can't get the power down, and out the corners, that's where Wesley Ferrant seems to be really gaining. So through the twisty section, when Alan's riding those curbs nicely, he really closes up on Wesley. But as soon as he is super aggressive over the curbs and hits maybe some of the yellow sausages or just rides the curb a little bit too much, you can see that BM bouncing all over the shop and is not helping him whatsoever on the exit. So let's see how he does now. Looking a lot closer to me.
In the meantime, with our checking in with our leaders just on lap times, I think Kieran Patterson's been given the hurry up as the times clicked all the way down to 5 seconds flat as the gap, because Patterson's put a quick lap in now. He's put a 1:54.2. It's his fastest lap of the race, and yeah, I think he realises he cannot let that gap come down any less. So he's trying to just up his pace a little bit. Bashir Jadrat's pushing with everything he possibly can, though. Yeah, super close here as you've got Alan Patterson having a look around the outside of Wesley Ferrant. Not enough. He's just moving around too much for me. I think just Alan Patterson just needs to just hold it behind and then just wait for that one clear-cut chance. He's losing quite a bit of time.
Guys take such different lines through this this twisty section, and you can see that Alan really gains on Wesley through.
Yeah, when you watch a hot lap guide through here, it's all about just trying to get a really late apex because there's such massive, great big sweeping bends in sector 3. Alan's trying to hug it more on the sort of hug the entire corner.
And you can see that Lexus just pulls away out the corners. It's quite incredible to watch, really.
But yeah, if you grab a late apex, it's going to do that for you as well, isn't it? Get a much cleaner exit.
Ooh, very sideways, very sideways. That's going to get Hugo de Wit all kinds of excited. He's now... Oh, he's in the boot of that BMW at the moment. Taking a more traditional line through the chicane. There's no place to pass there, my friend. You're going to need to line this up nicely. That's what you're going to need to do. Getting very bumpy over those curves. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it. No, and squirrely on the exit. That puts him much further back. And these guys now have...
Three guys all fighting for the same spot, isn't it? You got one.
Yeah.
Patterson thinks he's got a pass made, and the next minute he's defending from Hugo de Fit behind.
Yeah, so we don't have too many battles on track at the moment.
But what we are seeing is Bashir Jadrat is relentlessly pounding on the pace. A 153.8 last time through the finish line.
Jesus, that's
which
incredible.
is half a second quicker than Kieran Patterson, who had already upped his pace.
Alan is spun off. Alan's spun off.
We missed it. I'm
That's
sorry about that. We
unfortunate.
followed him for so long until we thought
It's
something
okay.
was going to happen, and then Alan Patterson's made a mistake, and we'll have to regroup.
It's it was a very disappointing mistake. I'm sure Alan will be kicking himself for that one.
He'll
One of
probably
those,
be glad it wasn't on the stream.
yeah, one of those. You just lose the back end, and it comes out, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's just such a disappointing one, and you end up kicking yourself and watching your rival
What's happened
head
to
off into the distance.
Sas van der Vesthuizen's dropped a couple of spots as well, because he's down to 8th, and
Well, no, he was 7th, so he's dropped 1.
he's dropped 1. Stridham's got past him.
Yeah, and remember, Stradham's been on a bit of a
Recovery
bit of a
drive.
charge.
Yeah. And he might lose another one with
'cause
Craig
Claessen's-
Clarkson, right up behind with less than half a second between these two.
Working the hell out of the wheel of that Bentley.
And we
He's all
saw
over the back of
it
Sass.
was Alton Park where Sass had an awesome first stint. Super
close
chuffed.
is this?
This is going to be
Look how
done.
close this is.
If he can't get it done, it just shows you how bad the Bentley is here.
The Sass is pulling away, actually.
He is. The deficit.
not by
He's
much.
being towed, is Clarkson at this point. He's not going to get close, is he? That Ferrari
No.
is so much quicker in a straight line.
281, that's the quickest I've seen a Bentley down that straight. And he was in the non-existent boot of that Ferrari.
He hooked himself to the back and just got towed along.
Yeah, but he's going to take a nice narrow line through this
Oh, super wide Sass.
sweeping bend.
Encouraging Claessens to look up the inside. He's going to get this pass done. No, Sass got the inside line here, but Claessens has already got the pass made.
Yeah, he's gone deep, and that's actually the better line. It looks through that bend, and there we go. Claessen's off into the distance, and Sass does fall down to 9th now.
Felt like the experience of Quade Claessens coming through there.
Yeah, big time.
As Sass just sort of panicked a touch, but he's still having a great drive. He was going back at Alton Park. He had a fantastic first stint, if I remember, and then it just fell apart in the second half of the race. So he'll be looking to try and pull through a top 10 by the end. He's only got 28 minutes to go, but I think a top 10 he'll be pretty happy with.
So tell me, based on their last laps, has Kieran rallied, or has Bash had a couple of
Kieran,
mistakes?
Well, Bash has dropped a bit of pace, but I mean, when I say a bit of pace, a 154.3 is still hellishly quick. But Kieran Patterson's last lap was a 154.186, his fastest lap of the race. So both of our leaders are pushing with everything they've got right now.
Yeah, makes sense, because now the gap is almost 5 seconds again, and we had seen it down to 4.5. So, yeah, that's a really great response from Kieran. Fantastic to see.
But, I mean, we've just seen a Bentley on Ferrari, and the difference is I don't think Patterson's going to make a mistake in the final sector in those bends to let the Bentley pass through turn sort of 9 and 10. I just can't see Bash passing if he makes the time up. He's running out of time as well. 27 minutes to go in this race.
That Ferrari down the back straight is so fast. It hit 287. That's the quickest I've seen anything.
Super impressive.
And he was only barely in the slipstream of Quade Claessen's. Like, if he was actually properly, 2/10 behind him, that he could be hitting 290, I reckon.
And obviously we've got Bash, who's effectively taken a drop round in Alton Park that just went all shapes wrong for him with hardware failure. But he had no choice but to perform here at a track that doesn't particularly suit his car so well. So I think coming out of this with a second spot, I'm not going to be upset with that, really.
No, definitely not. I see Wilson's in the pits, who's taking a second pit stop. Walter Swiggers is in for his pit stop. He's been in the pits an awful lot.
I think Swiggers is taking photos of the pit lane. He's probably laser scanned it. He's been through it so many times. He's going to send his data to Kunos so they can update the pit lane for him.
Ooh, seeing Bash run very wide on the exit of 8 there. Just having a look at Bash's top speed, obviously with zero
Assistance.
draft, and it was 275. Now we have seen the Bentley hit 280 in the draft as best it can. 281 if you're in the boot of a Ferrari. The Ferrari hits 287
on its own
without a draft. I mean that's
massive advantage.
Difference, right?
So even if Bash can claw this 4.5 seconds down, which the rate that it's coming down is not enough. Even if he can, passing is going to be incredibly difficult without a mistake.
Got a nice battle in 15th. Mr. Holzhazen is tackling Mr. Van Sale. It's Ferrari on Bentley. The gap has come down to half a second, and a lap or so ago it was just over a second. So Holzhazen is really putting the thumb screws to Flip Van Sale at the moment. Let's see what he can do. They're going to go onto the long straight now. So this Ferrari on Bentley is going to be pretty much the most mismatched in terms of top speeds that we're going to see.
In a very good-looking Ferrari as well. We're just riding on board now with him. Just trying to hunt down the Bentley in front.
Yeah, he wasn't really close enough going onto the back straight, but now you see he's gaining already.
See how much he's gaining here.
Yeah, so 275 is about what the Bentley's going to top out at. He's already at 280, 283. We go 284, goes to the inside. Nice. The switcheroo. Ooh, gotta keep it tight there, buddy. You gotta give somebody some
the Bentley's
room.
gone wide. He's going to have it. He's going to have the inside line here into turn 9 as well. He's got it.
Yeah,
good
move
pass.
there.
Got to feel that's the easiest pass on circuit. It's like having DRS in a Ferrari chasing a Bentley here, isn't it?
Yeah, without doubt. And then Endrin Governor behind them is now all over the back of Holzhazen. So also in a Ferrari is Endrin, so could be seeing another pass. I imagine Endrin's pit stop was pretty slow to repair all that damage.
Yeah, well, he had to get it resprayed for Matthew Boyd, didn't he? Obviously, that's going to add quite a lot of time to your pit stop.
I think what the point blank chaps have is
just a sticker transfer kit. Yeah,
sprayed duct tape. So when you stick it on, all looks good.
That's where you have that sort of splash and dash sort of livery. You can just add more blue tape on and cover up the damage. There you go. You see, it's good thinking. Money saving tip there from the point blank racing team.
Right, so I'm expecting Endrin to have a run at Holzhazen. He needs to get a bit closer. He's about 8/10 behind at the moment. I wonder if he's still suffering a little bit from some of the damage. See how he does coming out. This is the key, coming out of 6. Taking a very narrow line. We go out of 6. That's not bad. This is actually going to be pretty decent. I would be very worried if I was Mr. Holzhazen right now. 7/10 of a second, maybe not quite enough, but next lap I think is where we could see an overtaking maneuver.
Just see the power of the Ferrari. Even this far back, by the time he gets to the braking zone, he's going to be there and having a look. I can be pretty sure of it.
Yeah, here you go. Here it is, 283.
He's going to start coming out and having a little look. He won't be able to help himself.
Look at that.
Into the braking zone. He's miles back and he still managed to go at the pass.
Yeah, so we've seen pretty much every other matchup. You needed to be about 3/10 of a second, even 2/10 of a second to have a hope at making a pass.
With the Ferrari, you just have to just see the car. Oh, it's there. I'll see you at the end.
I'll just have him. Just have him. No worries.
It's like a different category of driving, isn't it?
Yeah, that was incredible.
Our leaders checking back in. How are they doing with lap times? They're basically level pegging. 154.2 for Bash or 154.3 for Kieran Patterson. Only 1/10. Not going to be enough at the moment. It looks like Kieran Patterson has got the pace to win this race. But Bashir Jadwat is not going to let up. He's going to have 22 minutes of qualifying laps. You can be pretty sure of that. But he's only got 11 laps to go. And at a 10th a lap, it's not enough. Not even close to enough.
Yeah, Kieran's managing this race exceptionally well.
Really
showing extreme maturity.
You've got to feel like the only thing that can stop him is a drive-through penalty for track limits, and I haven't seen him go off once.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Bash be more sort of liberal with track limits.
I think Bash has been having to push more, though, isn't he? I think he really is giving it everything.
So I'm just going to have a look at how quick Kieran gets down the straight on his own with absolutely no
We'll just ride on board with Kieran, our leader, just to see. He's obviously got this track properly nailed down in this Ferrari. See how smooth he is as he takes to the back straight.
See the gap there, just dipping below 4 seconds for the first time ever, 3.997. A little bit of a psychological blow there.
He just needs to be comfortable with the fact that losing 1 or 2 tenths a lap is perfectly acceptable when you've only got 10 laps to go. There's a 2-minute lap here.
Yeah, and he hit 281 there. Interesting now. I wonder if Kieran's running a little bit more downforce than some of the other Ferraris. Ooh, running
pushing track limits there. Please don't get a drive-through. I'll be...
I wonder if these guys have worked out you can run wide there. I wonder if it's those.
I think you can. I think you can. You can definitely use a lot of curves. You've got Edrin Govender gets the next person to get a drive-through in 15th after all his good work. Yeah, you can definitely use the curbs. You've got to stay off them when it's wet, obviously, because they're pretty slippy. But you can definitely use the curbs. But you've just got to make sure not all 4 wheels are over the white line, effectively. So
quickly go on board with Mark van Rensburg in 4th, because you'll see as he comes through the corner, he'll probably do the same thing. On the left-hand side, those little white bollards.
Yeah, stay inside those.
Yeah, stay inside those, because all of these guys are running super wide out to the left. But none of them are touching those white bollards, and I bet you that is that's the limit.
The track guides for this layout does definitely go heavily into where you can push track limits. So it is a fundamental part of being quick on this circuit. It's just knowing how far you push them. Very much like Le Mans and iRacing, it's just like you have to push track limits, but if you just go over it, it's a very fine line. But the quickest guys, they're the best at doing it.
I've got Mr. Fenter all over, Mr. Paul Fenter all over the back of Ronald Childs, coming all over the start-finish line. He's going to be looking to effect a pass, I would imagine, on our very favourite spot. Of course, although it is Bentley on Bentley, so we'll see what they can do there.
Yeah, through turn 1. That was a bit of a mess there from Charles, wasn't it? Totally messed that line up through turn 1.
It was very, very, very lucky that there was no contact there, but it's now put the gap a little bit further.
So Venter's been up, down, left, right. He doesn't know where he is. Wesley Ferran, the next person with a drive-through.
Another one.
I've lost count how many drive-through penalties we've had. I wasn't expecting this amount of penalties. There must be a dozen at the very least, just from track limits.
Is it just me, or is it getting a little bit lighter?
It is. It is. 5 o'clock in the summer. It is just starting to lighten up.
Yeah, I think we could see the sunrise almost by the time with 18 minutes left to go.
Very, very likely, yes. It's obviously the south of France as well, so yeah, it's still going to be pretty light. Clinging on to their Indian summer. Well, now it's gone. It's long gone now. It'll be getting cold.
So a little bit of an update in terms of weather. Currently very much partly cloudy, nothing to worry about there. 12 degrees now the track. So we've literally had 1 degree movement in about 40 minutes. So yeah, it's because remember I checked when Ross Bartle came in for his early pit stop and we were at 11 degrees and we are now at 12 degrees with 17 minutes to go.
Our leaders have lost a bit of pace, but so has the rest of the field. So it's interesting whether the track conditions has changed very slightly, because they both went through in the mid 54s, 154.4, almost within half a tenth of each other. So we see the gap is stabilised at 4 seconds, which is all Kieran Patterson needs to do. But Bashir Jadwat struggling to keep with his relentless pace into the 53s.
Yeah, I wonder if also tyre wear is coming into play now.
Stop go 30 for Govender. He didn't serve his penalty in time. I was waiting and I didn't see him come into the pit, so he got a stop go 30 for not serving it. So I mean that's just salt to the wound, isn't it? Really?
Has he not noticed or something? That's very strange. That's very strange.
I thought, well, he's had a drive-through for a while. He hasn't pitted, and then it popped up stop go 30. So I'm pretty sure that's a escalation of a penalty for not coming in.
Yeah, 100%. So let's see if Endron comes in. Maybe I guess I'm not sure that they're on Discord.
Someone
at the moment.
Get on the radio to him and tell him to serve it, because he'll get a DQ if he doesn't come in.
Yeah, Brett, if they're on the Discord, let him know, because. That's gonna be a big problem for Endron if he's not careful.
It's already a problem with the stop go 30, unfortunately, and that's a bit of a race killer, that penalty. It's almost a minute lost, really, isn't it, by the time you've got all the way through and served your 30 seconds stopping in the pit box. So we've got 15 minutes or so left of this race. Kieran Patterson is leading. The gap came down below 4 seconds, but it's now back over. He's looking very comfortable in that Ferrari. Just pray that he doesn't get a drive-through penalty for track limits from pushing. So he's just going to watch that and then try and bring this home for his first Division 1 win here at Sim Race South Africa. Bashir Jadwat has given it his all in a car that we've clearly seen is not suited this circuit. Ross Bartle had a good first lap and then probably cannot remember the last sort of 84 minutes of this race or so because he's just been going around on his own in third. Mark van Rensburg, he had a bit of a nightmare at the start, got pushed out and got tangled up in quite a few cars that ended up shunting on turn 1 and has fought his way back valiantly into 4th position. And we've got a lovely McLaren in rounding out our top 5 in Peter Oosthuizen.
That's
always nice to see another brand right up there at the sharp end of the grid.
I mean, we've got 5 brands in the top 6. That's pretty good going, I would say.
Yeah, excellent. Really is good. And then we've got Sas van der Westhuizen. He just seems to struggle towards the end of a race. He's just trying desperately to hold on to 9th. And he's got Alan Patterson, his arch nemesis, only 2 spots behind him. But I think there is a comfortable gap there, so...
Yeah, generally fairly comfortable gaps all up and down the field at the moment. Kind of Claessens, Van Vieren, Stradum are about the closest.
Ronald Childs, I just see Ronald Childs within 0.4 of somebody.
Yeah.
Paul Venter. I don't know whether Venter's got
Governor
past.
has cleared his stop-go, so he's taking it.
Good. That is good to know, but unfortunately he's going to be pretty upset with himself for getting it in the first place, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely down in 22nd.
And when you're already getting a slap on the wrist from Matthew Boy, you don't particularly want another one.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Right, so I'm just looking for battles. There really aren't that many, as I say, sort of 6th, 7th, 8th.
Very spread out, sort of 4, 5, 6 seconds between almost every car on circuit, apart from Ronald Charles and Paul Venter was within a second. But I think it's Venter that's passed Charles, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, it is.
So it's only likely to grow, yeah.
Yeah, Claessens on Van Vieren on Stradum is about the closest I can find, as I say, for that 6th, 7th and 8th. Claessens does look to be closing in, must be said, on Van Vieren. That looks well under a second now to me. We'll see as they cross the start-finish line. I reckon that's going to be around about a second. And it's 8/10ths, so there we go. Claessens is actually gaining on Janssen van Vieren at this stage, who is falling back from Sean Stradum. So I think van Vieren is a little bit feeling the pressure, I would say, from Claessens in that Bentley.
And we're definitely going to end this race in full daylight, it seems, at 5:12 a.m. in sim time here in just outside the Marseille in the south of France. There you go. That makes you want to go to the south of France, doesn't it? It's already nice and light by 5 in the morning. Oh, it won't be for long. Don't worry. Don't worry. It goes the other way, and we can start bragging to the European crowd. I very much like December and January time of year here, because I can start WhatsApping all my friends at home. Because they give it to me in June, July. I can promise you that.
Yeah, you got to get revenge somehow. And Claessens down the straight is just not going to have the legs on that Aston, which is going to, what's that going to top out at? I don't actually see the speed and the Vantage speedo. Oh, I was misreading. Okay, yeah, but anyway, Claessen's unable to make a dent on Van Vieren, but through the twisties,
he's super smooth, isn't he? What we have seen from Claessens is very consistent, super smooth driving, and that's what's got him places. We saw it with Sas van der Westhuizen. He made no qualms about passing him on the twisty stuff.
Yeah, there we go, and he's really under the rear wing of that Aston Martin now. Oh, drive through for Hannes van Wyk.
That's another one. He's had one already. That's his second one of the night for Hannes van Wyk.
So if he takes it and doesn't fall foul to like Adrian Governor did.
I think once you've got one, getting a second one is a touch careless, I have to say.
Right, so over the start-finish line, Claessen's really good on the brakes in that Bentley. Really good on the brakes.
The difference is we ride on board with them as they come through to turn 5 and 6. I think the difference being is he's just not going to have the pace up the back straight that we've seen from everyone else. So he's nice and tight here, gets a pretty good exit, and then you'll just watch. Yeah, here we go. Pretty flat through here. Slightly different line, isn't it? Very different line, but the Aston, now you just watch the Aston drive away. That must be so disheartening for him.
I think what he's trying to do is get on the power earlier and earlier to try and mitigate that damage.
It doesn't matter though. Your top end is just lacking.
Yep.
So there's nothing you can do. You've just got to sit there and just fume to yourself. It's almost like you've got aero damage or something, isn't it?
Yeah, so 281 is the top speed of that Aston on its own, as set up by Janssen van Vuuren. So you know, that's 6-7 k's an hour quicker than the Bentley.
And Hannes van Beek is indeed serving his drive-through penalty from 17th place, his second one of the night, I think. So he's going to be pretty upset with himself because he was right up at the sharp end at the start of this race, and his penalties really have cost him more than anything else.
Keegan for PWSR saying the battle between Kieran and Bash is so stable, it's shocking.
Yeah, it's so stable that we've almost ignored it, but we will just keep an eye on it as we've got 10 seconds, I was going to say 10 seconds, wouldn't have an issue then, 10 minutes to go. It is just stabilised around that 4 seconds. You feel like Kieran Patterson has paced himself perfectly in this race. He's really managed it well. And he was happy to see the time come down, but once it hit just under that 4 second mark, that was it then. And
we remember when the pit stop phase started, which was with Ross Bartlett, who took that undercut pit stop. He was about 7, if I remember correctly, it was somewhere around 5-7 seconds, about 7 seconds, I think, between him and Jadwat. When he came out, it was 10 seconds. It's now 26 seconds between Bartlett and Jadwat.
because
So
they've
it just
both
shows,
been pushing, haven't they? They've both been pushing.
but it just shows how amazing both Patterson and Jadwat have been this race. They've been absolute class of the field. I see Claessen's is now as close as he's ever been to Van Vuuren out of turn 7.
Yeah, Jadwat's just pushed absolutely relentlessly as we see whether is it possible for a Bentley to pass it into turn 8. It isn't. It's not going to happen, I'm afraid. We haven't seen one all night.
There. That's it. 279. That's the quickest he could manage. And the Aston. Oh, hello, Aston running a little bit wide.
This is where he feels confident, Claessen's through this section here. Look how much grip he's got as he looks up the inside line. He's going to push him out wide now. He gives the inside back to Van Vuuren.
And the outside's not bad through this corner. That's a definite opportunity.
He's going to get the cut back here.
He doesn't.
No.
It was good driving there from both drivers.
Very good driving. Very good driving.
He knew where his car was strong, did Van Vuuren, and he stuck to his guns.
Yeah, Claessen's is just being neat and tidy, and when he has an opportunity presented, he'll be more than happy to take it. He had a very, very good look there, and seventh spot is still up for grabs. Probably 3 more attempts to go, but he's not going to get it in turn 8, I don't think. Not without a major mistake from Van Vuuren. But this pressure's going to mount. Definitely will mount.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. And that Bentley looms large in your rear view mirror. That's for absolutely sure.
Definitely when it says matte black stealth one, such as Claessen's has got there.
Yeah. What are the times looking like for Patterson and Jadwat at now? I see the gap's 5 seconds.
They've both slowed down significantly. But every driver has. And looking through, the times are slowing as we're coming into daylight now on worn tyres, potentially, if they didn't change them. So Patterson was a 54.8. So about 8 tenths slower than his best, and Bashir Jadwat is 55.3, so he's really come off the pace because he was lapping in the 53s. So 1.5 seconds down now. So
It must be tyres because the
Gotta
track
be.
temperature is still the same, 12 degrees, still optimum.
I think he pushed
still
the
the same
tyres.
cloud level.
He pushed the tyres so much they're now just giving in as we get nearly to the 90-minute mark. And,
I mean, it's not like there's wind either. It's absolute zero wind, not a breath
and
of
look
wind.
at the rubber on track as well. It should be its grippiest point. But yeah, I think you push the tyres for 85 minutes, and that's what happens. You start dropping a second off your pace.
Yeah, you can definitely see that the sun's coming up now as well.
So, 35% chance of rain, not a sniff. The weather was very stable. I think actually quite happy with that, to be honest. Night rate's difficult enough as it is. Without a bit of rain on circuit, we might have struggled to see the cars as well. But it's been a good race. I've really enjoyed it. We've had plenty of passes. My word,
It must have been the most all season. This
Kruger's just had a drive-through. Second one of the night for him as well. Unfortunately, seems to be the same offenders, I'm afraid. But yeah, it's been a great race, Paul Ricard. It's probably the best Paul Ricard race I've seen because, not being funny, they tend to be a little dull. And this one hasn't been anything but, with plenty of action throughout the field. Lots of interest through turn 8 especially.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually been exceptionally riveting. I'm sure this is the kind of track that the drivers dread having to practice because it's just so monotonous. But for racing, it's turned to be an absolute classic race. As I see, Kieran's now 5.5 seconds ahead of Jadwat, really putting those thumb screws to the guy who's second in the championship at the moment. I want to say is Bash.
Yes, I believe he is. We've still got drop rounds to factor in. He had a very bad Alton Park, didn't he, Bash? But this is going to be good for him. I think this is he's certainly going to gain in the championship standings. Is Bashir Jadwat from this solid second place on a track that's not particularly suited, as we've already found out clearly from the fact that there's only a couple of Bentleys in the top 5 when we're used to seeing 3 or 4 there at least. So yeah, it's a good day's work, a good evening's work, or a good morning's work if you like.
All of the above.
All of them. Something it was done well.
Claessen's falling off the back of Van Veeren a little bit at the moment. With the back marker there, I would have thought he'd be trying to make the absolute most of this, but yeah, just struggling now to follow that Aston.
We're starting to get the blue and red stripes hypnotise us as we come into the daylight here in the morning at Paul Ricard. 3 minutes to go, probably 2 laps remaining in this race. Gap stabilised everywhere apart from Claessen's, and I cannot see anyone else in a real close battle on track. So we'll probably stick with this until the final lap.
Yeah, I don't see anything at the moment. The back marker there getting out the way.
But Claessen's has just dropped a bit, hasn't he? Yeah.
He had dropped. He's now closing up again. It's a bit odd. He's going to have to find an opportunity in one of the corners, dive up the inside or go around the outside. It's just not going to happen on the straight.
We know they're on worn tyres. I mean, this could be the difference here. The lap times they're doing is not quick at all. Claessen's was a 55.9. Van Veeren last time through was a 56.2. Nearly 2 seconds off his best. So, yeah, they're fighting worn tyres at this point, which potentially might favour Claessen's more than the Aston.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a betting man, certainly that's what I would be saying, that Bentley generally pretty good on its tyres. Yeah, and
the experience as well from Claessen.
Yeah, very smooth. Yeah.
Certainly looks more composed through this final sector with all the twisty stuff. Does Quake Claessen's.
Yeah, gap 1.3 now though. And 6.5 seconds up front as well. That's Kieran is just absolutely flying right now.
Yeah, I think Bash has just let off a touch. I think he's happy to take his second spot. Potentially, you might find yourself with on a final warning or something and just think, nah, it's not worth it anymore.
Not worth it.
Yeah, I'll just bring this home because a drive-through right now would just be so gutting.
And I see Kieran's coming to lap 10th place, Hugo de Wit. So really, Kieran, that just shows the dominance he's had this whole race. In fact, if he's coming to lap Hugo de Wit, that means he has in fact lapped his dad. So Alan's been lapped by Kieran.
That's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, he's probably going to just snippet that from the YouTube stream and have it as his sort of login feature on his phone when his dad rings. I'd have it as my dad's ringtone. If I have lapped my dad.
Next family bri is going to be an absolute nightmare for Alan, I can tell you what.
Yeah,
Kieran's not going to let him live that one down.
He can just go, well, it's my offspring, so I'll take half of this victory. That's the problem with dads, isn't it? I can beat him at golf, and all he goes, I'm proud of you, son. You're like, damn it!
Speaking of being proud, though, Kieran is on the last lap, looking to lap Endron Governor at the moment, looks like, based on the livery, and
Got to give me a number. Where are we? 22nd.
22nd, yeah. So putting another lap on Endron. Must be said, Kieran has done exceptionally well today. He was looking good in qualifying the whole time, and dominant in the race as well, holding off Bashir Jadwat, who, as we know, has won multiple championships many times over. So,
I think he was helped a touch with the early battles with Jadwat had with McCall. And the fact that Kieran could just get away comfortably, but he got a great start, and
he made the most of those
100%.
Well.
He definitely did. And then when Bash was trying to fight his way through, he just stabilised the gap. So he perfectly managed race here from Kieran Patterson. Absolute masterclass. He should join the masterclass team.
I'm not sure that he's going to be pried away from Patterson Simworks Racing anytime soon.
No, when you've got you are the name of the team, it's difficult to leave, isn't it? Really, that would be a bit embarrassing.
But it's fantastic to see that yellow liveried car going to take the checkered flag. Just one corner to go. Kieran gets it absolutely spot on, and there he is. He's going to take a fantastic victory. Very, very well done to Kieran Patterson, flashing his lights. You know that he is absolutely ecstatic.
Bashir Jadwat will be pleased. He is pleased. Look at him weaving down the straight. He's happy with second spot on that Bentley. I think that'll feel like a win for him. And he pushed as much as he possibly could. He knows that he left it all on track, and he didn't particularly I didn't see a mistake from him either. He had that little skirmish at the start with McCall, which just held him back a few seconds, but Patterson was good value for it.
Yeah, solid race by Bash. There was, he was just absolutely dominant over the rest of the field. It was just Kieran was, just better today. Really was. Ross Bartle, third place. Good, solid podium from Ross. He's had such bad luck in the last few GT races. It's good to see him getting a little bit of reward. And Mark van Rensburg there in the Porsche. Fantastic result for the Porsche. Great to see Mark back at the front of Division 1. And Mr. Oosthuizen, look at that. Oh, fantastic to see a McLaren, doing well. It's been so long since we've seen a McLaren this high up in a Division 1 race.
Yeah, really good to have another Brown there. Sean Stridham, another one in the Aston, comes across for 6th. Van Vuren takes 7th. Claessens was super smooth, but he didn't make that pass in the end, so he had to settle for 8th place. Sass van der Westhuizen, he's going to finish, and he's going to finish strongly in 9th place. I think he's also going to be quite happy. And Hugo de Wit, he's already finished and doing donuts, and he's super chuffed with the top 10.
I'm going to bring Kieran in for a quick chat. I see he's in the off air.
Whilst we drag him in, we'll just take a short break, and we'll be back then, and we'll hopefully get a chat with Kieran Patterson.
I mean, did you think that the Ferrari was you know, had a little bit of an advantage here? You certainly down the straights, you guys seem to be the quickest out there.
Yeah, the Ferrari's definitely got a bit of a top end on any track that it runs at. I know it's quite quick at Bathurst as well, down Kemmel Straight, and then also at Belgium at Spa with Conrad, but or vice versa. Sorry, got the straights wrong. But yeah, I knew I had some top end pace, so I knew I was going to be up there. But
No, that's fantastic. Well done, and Bash, congratulations to you as well. A wonderful podium. I mean, you kept Kieran honest through that whole race. All the Bentleys seemed to really struggle. You seem to find some pace there.
I'm actually stoked with that result. I didn't expect top 5, to be honest, with the top end of the Bentley. But yeah, I gave it my all. The second stint was better for me, I think. But I think I did push the tires a bit too hard once I got out the pits. The first stint with the track starting on green, I struggled a bit on the pace. I had to let Junior by. He looked like he was a bit faster, but I don't know what happened to him. And he sort of braked hard in that one corner, and I had to take him off. And I got 2 track cut warnings in that one corner.
Ooh,
so the rest
no.
of the race was a little bit of damage.
Yeah,
damage control.
We
but,
think Junior may have had some sort of hardware failure because he went off the track and then couldn't recover and didn't have any steering. He was bouncing himself off the wall. So it was a bit of a shame because we were enjoying watching the battle between you two. But I'm sure you'll be a little bit more relieved because you could try and get your head down, try and catch Patterson. But Patterson
Not
just...
really. At that stage, he was actually faster than me, Junior. So I was actually using his slip to keep my pace up.
Get towed along a bit.
Yeah, I was getting towed along because, the first stint with the green track, I really struggled. I just didn't have any front-end confidence. But then the second stint, I must say that car was beautiful. I think I managed to do my first 53 race pace as well, which I'm happy with. And yeah, I'm just stoked with the result. I didn't expect it, to be honest with you.
It's a good time to do it. I mean, Kieran, were you struggling with track cuts at all? We saw loads and loads of drive-throughs, but did you struggle in any way there?
Yeah, I think I did 1 or 2 silly ones, but one that I actually just pushed the car a little bit too hard out of turn 2. So I was sitting on 3 track cuts, so I thought I would just take it easy at the end. But I did see how fast Bash was pushing, so I thought his tires might fade at the end. So I just thought I'd keep it consistent at least.
Yeah, perfectly managed though, Kieran. I think you got that's your first Division 1 race here at SimRace South Africa, I believe. You've got to be pretty happy with that as a result. And you lapped your dad, we noticed on the stream.
Yeah, that's we weren't really too funny about it or anything. I was just so focused on finishing the race and getting the victory. I mean, like you say, it's my first victory. Lo and behold, sorry, it's actually my first podium since racing with.
Oh,
No,
really? Okay.
Some race they say, yeah, that's my first podium, never mind a win. So I'm over the moon, guys.
Yeah, but you've got to love lapping your dad. I mean, if I do anything with my dad, it's real nice to beat him. Come on.
Look, we've always had that little that relationship with one another.
He's got his own battle with Sas van der Westhuizen anyway, so I'm sure he wasn't too upset.
Yeah,
No, not at all. He was so stoked. From 25th or 28th on the grid up to 11th in the Beamer, which is a challenge in itself. I know, I've tried it. It's not easy, so he's stoked.
Yeah,
No, it's
super.
a fantastic result for both of you guys. PWSR, a really, really good result. So congratulations to both of you guys. And Kieran, I really hope to see you on the podium a lot more often and hopefully a few more wins as well.
Yeah, I definitely hope so too. Hope to give Bash more run for his money.
And are you going to put a petition in to get Paul Ricard added to the season's roster for the rest of all time?
Possibly, yeah. I think I'm going to start that petition now. If anyone's watching or listening, let's go do it. Discord, let's go.
There you go. Well, you had it was a good race, so you might have a few people backing you as spectators as well. So congratulations, Kieran Patterson, on your first win, SimRace South Africa. I'm sure it won't be your last. We look forward to seeing you in round 5. Bash, you're right in there for the championship as well. So I think a good solid day's work for you. And championship's up for grabs, I think.
Yeah, I'm happy with this result. So I'm very happy. So yeah, well done to Kieran. He was untouchable today. Pole and the victory. Class drive.
Thanks, Bash. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Superb. Thanks for joining us. Okay, what have we got, Nick? What's coming up at SimRace South Africa? We didn't have a chance to punt it throughout the stream because there was passes everywhere. So let's do a bit of punting now. What's next on the calendar for SimRace South Africa next Monday?
Right, up next for SRSA, next Monday we are back with the Legends series, so of course that is going to be in the minis, that is the classic Mini Coopers, and we're going to be going around Okayama for round 4, but it's the short circuit, so those of you paying attention, we have used Okayama already this year, but that was for the GP series, and that was the big circuit. The Okayama Piper is where we're going to be for Legends, and that, I can tell you right now,
I don't think I've ever done the short circuit. I know Okayama super well, but I've never done the short circuit.
It's going to be tight. I tell you what, if there's more than a couple of tenths between guys, I'm going to be very, very surprised.
Well, the full circuit's pretty tight, so if they cut it down even more, there's not going to be much left.
Exactly. So we're going to be there, and then I think we're going to be back in the touring cars. Let me just check. Touring cars up next. We're going to be round 5, of course. That's for Chang International Circuit, and that's on the 25th of October. Touring cars, of course, were in the 90s. Super Tourings, currently dominated a little bit by the Volvos, but the Nissans are quick, and the BMWs also throwing their hats in the ring there. So we're going to be there, and then
it's GP, but I think there's been a track change because it's Modena, but I think it's changed today to something else. So just keep an eye. I can't remember what it changed to, but it's definitely changed. But we will be GP. You've got 3 weeks before you get there, so I don't think you have to worry too much about that one. Of course, we do have Wednesday night this week with the Division 2 at Paul Ricard. If it's anything like Division 1, it might be worth tuning in. Hopefully we'll have a stream for that one, but we'll see how we get on. But that's it. It's been a bit of a wrap and a very enjoyable evening. Thanks so much, Nick, for joining me. Any last words?
No, just thanks, everybody. Congratulations, Kieran, once again, and we'll see you again next time.
Brilliant. Yeah, we will. So in the meantime, enjoy your sim racing, everyone. Make the most of it. Get some laps under your belt, and hopefully we'll see you on track soon, and you can try and keep up with our leader from today in Kieran Patterson. But everyone else, until we see you again, go well.
Ciao, ciao.